And we are live. Let me get the chat popped out. Sorry for that. I forgot that I had my server plugged in, which means that stream would have been real janky with my with the information or with the bandwidth upload. So wanted to make sure that that was all good to go. And yeah, lolly ho, Jellybean, you're very consistent about being first and first with that. It's impressive, truly. Oh no, today's going to be very serious. Lolly ho, adventurers, what a nice timing for a live stream. Hey, Chromium, good to see you, glad to have you. Professor, good to see you, glad to have you. Jellybean, did I say good to see you, glad to have you? Good to see you, glad to have you. Playing PUT, loving Black Mage right now, so it's very nice to watch Eorzean Grinding stream on the site. Perfect. Look, I have no qualms being second monitor content. If you have me up and you're intermittently interacting, or even if you're just listening for background enjoyment, I will gladly take that. No qualms there. We all got it, you know, well, not all of us, maybe we're not all fans of it, but everyone, most people, like to have some kind of second monitor content on, so I totally get it. Hey, Tethys, good to see you, glad to have you. Ray, good to see you, glad to have you, both of you as always. Starry Vixen, good to see you, glad to have you. Remember this time, Ray doing her announcements. Atelier, good to see you, glad to have you. Koshek, threw herself into the room. Hi. Here, let me embody Koshek there for a second. Hi. Okay, I'm assuming that's what Koshek did. Deathberry, good to see you, glad to have you. Didi, good to see you, glad to have you. Ray with her many announcements. Hey, Aubrey, good to see you, glad to have you. Oh, also, Aubrey, thank you for that visual novel recommendation. I will get to it sometime soon, and I appreciated that. I hope that came across. I just, I have no idea when I will, but definitely appreciate that. Sunny Day, good to see you, glad to have you. Sarah, good to see you, glad to have you. Lytton, good to see you, glad to have you. Very serious, he says, with the auto-tone filter on. Oh, is my voice filter on?
There we go. Well, that's even more appropriate, ain't that? I must have left that on. Back to normal then. Today's stream brought to you by Daft Punk. Well, that'll be very fun for the people who start out this stream. So serious. Robot voice, hello. Hey, buddy? Is it Booty? Booty or Buddy? Good to see you, glad to have you. I may just called you Bud. I think everyone's appreciating my antics, and I'm pretty sure Koshek is doing anything but appreciating my antics as they try desperately to not be seen. This is giving me dude that sings everywhere and everything in autotune on TikTok vibes. Wayne is judging you. I mean, ain't he always, though? The Barbecue, good to see you, glad to have you. Look, every moment can be a comedic moment. Nick, good to see you, glad to have you. It's okay, the husband forgets sometimes, too. I wonder if that was on purpose or not. No. That was just me tinkering around with it and forgetting to switch over to the regular voice. Before stream. I was trying to get the new female voices and all sorts of voices set up for later. Maybe not necessarily as much in this stream, but in future ones for sure. There's no way to start stream with the autotune. Can people stop calling me out today? Loving the turtleneck on you. Thanks, Nick. I've always loved turtlenecks. I don't have very many of them, and I only just found this one this morning in storage. I've been trying to get rid of as many clothing as possible, at some point update my wardrobe, because I've been so without funds that the majority of my wardrobe has been the majority of my wardrobe for the better part of 5 to 10-ish years. So, but yeah, I'm planning to hopefully get some more. What I really want to do is I want to sit down and buy like 5 white shirts, 5 black shirts, 5 turtlenecks, and like 5 button-ups that I really like each one, and then also like 5 vests, or maybe only like 2 vests because I only need them regular, and then just like that'd be like it, like, and I guess like 5 pairs of blue jeans, and like just that's it. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, wait, that's only 5 pair of pants. What do you do for the other 2 days of the week? Have you heard of Winnie the Pooh? Anyways, has everyone gotten a hello and welcome? Let's make sure. It's Booty. Okay. But it's just as good. Awesome. Good. I know that I tend to abbreviate almost everyone's names. I abbreviate, Ray is one of the few people I don't abbreviate their name. But that's probably because I have a very close friend named Ray. But like I call Tethys Teth a lot. You know, D I'll call D. Tillier, you just say Tillier. Chromanium, I'll say Chrome. Nick is Nick. Starry Vixen. Yeah. Indeed. Issa, indeed. Well, it looks good. I shall mostly be lurking as I'm about to attempt to make some Loppert emotes for my FC's future Discord. Nice! Nothing wrong with keeping the same wardrobe for a while if you like it. And so I've kept it for a while and I am in good enough shape, but it was not by choice, mostly by lack of money. That said, I'm not much of a splurger, so. But anyways, let us get us going. We will do our, so the plan today is we're going to be doing, dungeons and some other blue quests just to get some of that stuff out of the way because I consider a lot of the quests part of the MSQ. Then the 3 things that we have left to do after this are we have, mystery, oh my god. Well, I'm gonna say the other 2 first while I remember that. Bahamut and Crystal Tower and Manderville. Those are the 3 things that we have to do. Now, the order is going to be Bahamut first and Crystal second, but where Manderville falls in between those is up to you guys. We can either do Manderville tomorrow, or we can do it on Thursday. It'll either be Bahamut on Tuesday and Manderville on Thursday, or Manderville on Tuesday and a Bahamut on Thursday. Now, I'm thinking Bahamut on Thursday as our capstone for a Realm Reborn is probably the best way to do it, but we'll see. Oh, Dragoon coming up. Yes, Dragoon coming up. Well, we're about halfway through the Lancer stuff, but we need to make sure that we have Dragoon ready for when we finish 2.x. Hildebrand tomorrow. Yep, sounds good.
Elio, you come at a good time. I urgently require your help. Scarcely a bell ago, our old friend Fulquist paid us another visit, seemingly intent upon reprising the performance he gave on the day of your first meeting. As on that occasion he rather raved till the air was thick with slanders, declaring every soul who met his gaze more craven than the last. This time, however, not all ears were deaf to his myriad provocations. It seems one of our younger members took offense at his words and demanded satisfaction of the rogue. The 2 have since departed to the east, departed to duel in the East Shroud. Had I been on hand, I would have forbade such folly and rebuked the lad for letting pride cloud his judgment. Alas, I learned of it too late, and the boy is gone. All we can do now is ensure that the hot-headed fool does not come to lasting harm. I would have departed in pursuit of the pair ere you came, but my duties kept me here. That is why I turn to you now, Elio. Pray go to the East Shroud in my stead, and watch over our comrade.
Feel Hildebrand on Thursday, leave off the mainstream on a silly note. Yeah! But also, okay, here's my rebuttal is almost antithetical to your point. I feel like you do have a fun time in the middle of the week, and then we leave off on Bahamut because that's the cathartic note. Because then 2.0 is left off on, like, this week ends 2.0, and next week begins 2.1. That's my argument. I'm here to hear counter arguments. I tend to prefer to leave off on cathartic notes rather than silly ones, though. I can't wait for DC travel to be implemented. Let me not be limited to Primal and have some way of participating in community streams. Well, we'll be super excited to have you, and that goes for every one of you who's on Primal, Chaos, Aether. Aether. Like it doesn't matter if you're in Europe or in America. Obviously 6.18 our Euro friends will not be able to join us, and that breaks my heart. But for 6.18, I'm really excited to have the other states people, and I'm really excited for by the time we get to 7.0 to have our Euro friends as well.
So, we meet again. You remember who I am, I trust.
Ooh, okay guys, do we throw shade at him and ask him who the fuck he is, or do we tell him that, do we play it straight? No, it's fine either way. Wonder if Fulquist is a special dialogue of your Duskwhite. That's a good question, Professor. I don't know off my head. Again, cries and chaos. Indeed. Hey, lady! Good to see you, glad to have you. Thank you. Everyone seems to be liking the turtleneck. Now I just gotta find like a way to get a cactar turtleneck. I don't even know what that would mean. Well, I guess, okay, no, that's like green and you get, but like the ribs have black stripes on them. Yeah. Cries and light. Always choose shade. The mod has spoken.
You wound me. How could you possibly forget your mentor? He who has taught the true meaning of courage. Well, it is of little consequence. Though you have forgotten the teacher, it is plain you have not forgotten his teachings. I understand you were able to retrieve the Stone of Courage in Spirit Hold. It seems I was right about you. Aye, you have the makings of a true Lancer, unlike those charlatans at the Lancers Guild. It is well that you have come to me, for I have just the trial for you, one that will do wonders for your courage. Not interested, you say? But you have no choice. Should you refuse, well, suffice it to say that I will not be able to guarantee the safety of your comrade here. When last we spoke, I told you that a Lancer may forge true courage only in the midst of great danger. Needless to say, the threat posed by ordinary creatures is insufficient. You must needs seek out better sport. But fear not, for I've taken the liberty of finding you something suitable. Take this alchemic potion and sprinkle it upon the exposed roots yonder. Doing so will garner you the wrath of a certain creature, which you must then strike down.
Yes, I like this guy. Hey, Brotherhood, good to see you. Glad to have you. Yeah, I'm just jealous that I can't look as good wearing. Hey, I don't know. I bet you could pull one off. Ladies in turtlenecks are quite cute. Okay, yeah, no, I can say cute. I was like, was that in bad taste? No, that's fine. All of you bonding over your Euro troubles. Doing some baking while watching the stream, making good. I love hearing about all the shit you guys are doing, like while like having this as second monitor, or technically primary monitor, but secondary, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I made an ult to start my journey again. Nice. Since Mikote wasn't the best insert for me after all. I found a snippet about transportation fees of ethereal travel. Yeah. How is the fee distributed collected? Since apparently Limsa and others got a debt from mostly Ul'dah merchants for reparations, how does this function get distributed? So, wait. So how is fee collected? Since apparently Limsa and others got a debt, mostly Ul'dah. Do you mean a debt for the creation of the Aetherites by Charlian? And if so, effectively what we're supposed to imagine is that there's someone taking, every time you teleport in, imagine there's a little, like, let's say you teleport into Ul'dah. Just imagine there's a little Lalafell brass blade taking your money. Just like, thank you very much, every time you pass through. That is effectively what you're supposed to think about in reality. Nah, mate, your mobile is content. Is that worse than second monitor content, or is that better? Light Gang rises up. Hey, Soul, good to see you. Glad to have you. I technically have 3. Jeez. There you go. I currently have you on a separate window while I continue my AR relics. There you go. Well, I should try and see now if my old one still fits, but for now it's too hot to wear it. I'd probably die from the heat. I know you're still suffering from that. I hope that ends sooner rather than later. I am doing well. I felt a little, so I pretty intermittently feel under the weather. And I woke up feeling a little so this morning, but and even going into stream, I was a little bit like, ugh. But I know as I get into it, I'll feel better, and by the time I'm done, I'll have a stream high, so I should be good.
So you have vanquished the Trent. Well done. By striking down that frenzied creature, you have further strengthened your courage. Release your comrade. Oh, I shall, once you have completed my next trial. This one will pit you against multitude of foes. Make your way to the Lifemen's Stump in the Central Shroud. Once there, seek only a likely spot along the forest path to lie in wait. Man-eating wolves are wont to hunt there at times of the year, and should not be long before a pack appears. When the beasts show themselves, you are to slay their leader, the Alpha Wolf. I shall be observing from up close, the better to offer you advice.
That was faster. No, it's just faster. Just go. I'm on. Jesus, I'm on everything. I'm on Isis TV. I didn't get notification for the stream. Oh, Eden, I'm sorry. Well, you've only missed a couple minutes. I mean, all you missed was me diving in and out of frame, literally in midair, while my voice was auto-tuned. It wasn't that much. I'm not joking. There's always the VOD. Better because I dragged you around the house this way. Okay, Professor, I'll fucking take it. I listen to a lot of YouTube and podcasts on my phone while I go do stuff too, so I relate to that. I use my drawing tablet as a third monitor when I'm not using it. Now I'm imagining me being on a drawing tablet. It's like, just what can't I be on? I only have one HDMI cable, so you're just to the side for me. Well, Koshek, I appreciate it all the same. that I take that much of your life real estate up. I'm watching on my phone while at work. Power to you, Death. Good evening. Good to see you, Elvin. Good to see you. Glad to have you. 9 p.m. here. Well, let's hope that, oh my god, it's going to be pretty late for you by the time we wrap up here. Well, I hope you enjoy. Having lunch now while I'm watching. We'll play POTA after. Nice. I would like to see this guy try and get Cowardly Lion to be courageous. That would be an image. Give him a mustache. Yeah, I have you on my Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I'm just watching on the Pong console. Don't worry. I got my Atari 2600 here. Now I'm just imagining someone making a cartridge. It's got like Elio on like the old Atari style like art, and then like you plug it in, and it's like the Atari 2600 style graphics, but it's just Elio. It's just like this like 12 pixel by 12 pixel. There's like one blue dot for his earring. It's just like, oh man. Yeah, you're like the Linux. You run on everything. I'm not the only one that does that. Yeah, it sounded like fun. Oh well, we'll watch that later, I guess. Yeah, don't worry, Eden. It'll definitely be available. You're on my smart toaster. Someone could definitely put me on their fridge, right? There's definitely a way to get me on a fridge. I'm under-geared, but it's not gonna matter. The Grand Company person near the Aetherans 3 starting cities says the restoration of the Aetherites of Bahamut caused events to seem to pay both Charlian and seemingly paid to both Charlian and as tax. Is the restoration of Aetherites caused debt? Yeah, that debt was to Charlian though. So Brotherhood, that debt that it caused was to Charlian. Unless they specify that like you're talking about like do they specify it was the Syndicate? Because if they don't, they're referring to the debt to Charlian. Doom mode for Elio. There you go. Drawing your stream on Etch-a-Sketch. Oh, speaking of, I think I mentioned this in the Discord or somewhere. I have like a museum grade printer because it was like $1,000, but I got it for like $100 off of someone who was moving. So if any of you guys create art for the fan art board, I will make sure to print it out very nice and very high quality from that printer. Yeah, it's a debt for Charlian, which they are collecting taxes to pay off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure if there was actually a reference by those guys to like another, like there was a middleman. So for instance, I could imagine like Ul'dah the Sultan had to borrow money from the Syndicate in order to pay it in the first place and actually owed a debt to them rather than Charlian, but I don't know any examples of that. It specifies specifically merchants and name that it's mostly from Ul'dah merchants. Okay, interesting. That's really interesting. Now, do they say that for all 3 city-states? And that makes sense. Okay, so that does make sense. The idea that that the Syndicate would be a middleman. I'm not surprising.
You are to be congratulated, Elio. By throwing yourself into the midst of danger, you further tempered your courage. And in the process, you've brought peace to the Lifemen's Stump, a place considered sacred by the people of Gridania. Having undertaken my trials, you must now see that those issued by the guild are naught but child's play. Mine is the one true path to courage. All others lead to ignominy. If you wish to become a lancer worthy of the name, I suggest you leave Eorzean and his house of cravens, never to return.
Bitch, please.
For your sake, I pray you do so soon, till we meet again.
Tempting, very tempting. Yeah, going back to the ancient 2012 wall of printed fan art moments. Yeah, to the ancient 2012 wall of printed fan art. I don't know what you're referring to specifically. That guy from every class. Yeah. So yeah, Brotherhood, was that out of curiosity, was that did Gridania ones and Limsa? Oh, I only know they mentioned it in Limsa as I started there, and I'm talking to everyone and everything lore snippets. Well, if they did for Limsa, it would make sense that it would hold true for Gridania as well. And why don't we you know what? We're in Gridania. Why don't we just go ask? Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, I'm surprised because I'm surprised they needed a middleman at all, that Charlian wouldn't have just loaned them wouldn't have loaned them anyways. But it does make, or at least it's not like really weird. Yeah. Gotta go crash now. Well, Sonny, thanks for hopping in. Good. Hope you have a good sleep. Where's Mr. Aetheryte? Ah, there we go. Before one of my unshades. As you're traveling through here, you often come across a large floating deposits of crystalline substance known as aetheryte. The one before us here is a fine example. It said that aetheryte is a solid manifestation of plants' lifeblood, and by touching it, aether will wake up in our bodies, resonating with that contained in the crystal. This is called attunement. Normally, when one's body is reduced to aether, it will naturally gravitate to the location with which it resonates the greatest, or one's home point. This is why, upon losing consciousness in battle, many find to wake themselves back into aetheryte. Yeah. Pull back. We all know this. This is basic stuff. Yeah, if you don't know this about aetherites, feel free to go watch my video on aetherites. Okay, that's weird. She didn't mention any difference. I wonder if they only do when you first do the quest, when you first arrive, and that's only when they get into that. Charlene are trying to appear neutral, but the thing is Charlene offering to all three of the city-states alone to grant them aetherites. Well, one, they've done things like that in the past. I don't know. I can't think of a specific example. I shouldn't say that if I can't think of a specific example, but they've done things akin to it. And also, neutral to who at that point? Because they're still selling the aetherites to them. So it's not like they're refusing to give them the aetherites. And on top of that, they're giving them to all the city-states. So, Elio, Charlene needs that money. That pizza slice on the main menu wasn't cheap. I just finished Endwalker's Final Road Quest. How are y'all doing? Hey, Richard, good to see you. Glad to have you. It's a pretty good one. And I'd love to spend more time with Fortunel. That's for sure.
Elio, thank the gods you are safe. The young fool of a lancer returned but moments ago, and through choked tears recounted to me all that transpired. I understand Fulquist again attempted to force upon you his corrupted notion of courage. I cannot say this often enough. A lancer's strength is courage by tempering his composure and resolve, not by rushing headlong into danger. You were able to overcome Fulquist's trial, 'tis true, yet know that you did so by virtue of courage. That is, courage born of composure and resolve. You faltered not before the fury of a frenzied Trent, nor did you succumb to panic when surrounded by bloodthirsty wolves. Owing to this, you were able to perform to the fullest of your potential. You have come far, Elio. It is past time that I taught you the piercing talon technique, one of the most versatile weapons in the Lancer's arsenal. May it serve you well. Now, I must needs decide what course of action to take with regards to your self-appointed mentor. Though no lives were lost, this latest incident only serves to confirm what I have long suspected, that Fulquist will cause great harm if left to propagate his corrupted notion of courage. He must be persuaded to desist, though I do not yet know how. Mayhap his regard for you could be turned to our advantage. But leave such consideration to me. For the time being, you would do well to put Fulquist from your mind. Focus on your training and strive to master the technique I have taught you. I look forward to our next meeting.
Easy travel for gleaners to other Charlene. 1,000 Maws time here soon. 1,000 Maws? Oh, Vixen, we're well past 1,000 Maws. We've also... we finished 2.0. Oh, are you taking... Wait, Vixen, were you playing our Realm Reborn? Are you talking about you? If so, my apologies. Also, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go grab a drink. No, for me, biggest sense of deja vu just now. Yep. Are you leveling Dragoon to prepare for Heavensward? Yes, we are. That is exactly what we are doing. And that's why we open every stream with Lancer bit by bit, because by the time we get to the midpoint of 2.x, we should be, even maybe earlier than that, we'll be done with Lancer and it'll be ready to go. And also it allows for people who want to trickle in for the first 15, 30 minutes to be able to do so. Actually, let's use our teleportation. AC, good to see you, glad to have you. What would you consider extremely long for a lance? I.e., if Alex lance is resets, like, for me. Well, I mean, like, that's dependent on history and, like, the context of what are you using the lance for, right? Like, the length of a lance, like, there are lances in history that are, like, 12 feet or other, like, ridiculous sizes. But, like, there was the context for using them made sense. So I guess I wouldn't say I have a lance is ridiculously long only in so much that it is not effective for what it is meant to be put for. And I don't think we have any notion of something like, even if you have a lance that's 15 meters long, if its function is still to act as a lance in every meaningful context, I don't think then we should refer to it any differently. Oh, hello, it's Issa. Look at that, man. Lady man. Hail that adventure. I'm Nedrick Ironheart, an explorer by trade. I've met you, Nedrick. Why are you introducing yourself? And a scion by allegiance. And you, my friend, look to me at an adventurer in need of challenge. Hi, Deadpool. Happen to know just the place that will offer it to you. Do you guys want to see Deadpool? Let me know. Tucked away in the corner of eastern Hydaelyn lies Hydaelyn, and it is there that you will find all the excitement you crave. The place boasts a storied history. It was built some 100 years ago past as a training ground for gladiators. The calamity laid ruin to it, though as it did to most things. Now Hydaelyn is a shadow of its former self, but in the dark of the shadow lurks wild beasts, both bloodthirsty and beyond count. For one such as yourself, I dare say there is no place finer than the Hydaelyn to test your skill and refine your techniques. Indeed, I've taken the liberty of passing your name along. Deadpool, come here. Come here. People want to see you. Come on, come here. Oh, yeah, you run into me? Okay, there we go. Oh. You good boy? Oh, you got something you want to go check out? Yeah? Yeah? Wanna go get it? Good job. Can you get a high five? Thank you. Very good. Very good. Another high five? Go get it. Go get Mom. Go get it. Go get it. He is the goodest boy. He's very, very good. 56 warrior can do Hydaelyn with best stuff. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Everybody's loving on Deadpool. Did I miss anything? Nope, just Tethys being awesome. Insert Lance joke here. Gotta think of a few good ones. Really drive the point home. I see you're taking over for Des while the... Don't forget to grab Pugilist Gladiator for the later expansions. Yeah, Professor, we're probably not going to grab them right away. Will depend. We'll either be grabbing them... we may grab them as they become relevant, or we may grab them in interstitials. I think it'll depend. You know, Pugilist will probably grab if we have time, because we definitely want to do Monk before... We definitely want to do Monk at least during Heaven's Words. I mean, like, not just because of, obviously, using the Monk class, but we also want that context with Wittergelt and stuff. So we might do Monk during 3.0. That might be what we do for the warm-ups. Gladiator, then we could, and Paladin we could do during Shadowbringers or Stormblood. We could do Dark Knight during Stormblood, but I kind of want to do Dark Knight during Heaven's Word. We'll see. We'll see what makes sense. Full screen to see Pupper. What breed is he? He is a Swedish Valhund. Nice thing about small and some medium-sized dogs, you can pick them up and hold them. Yeah, he's also just he loves to cuddle. I have some photos. I haven't posted many of them on the Discord yet, but I posted some, but like he just loves like cuddle, and he'll like hug me too. Like he puts like one paw over me, and it's very cute. Indeed, I've taken the liberty of passing your name along to the flames who oversee the place, should you visit. You speak with one Fafa Joni near the entryway. Fafa Joni? Or is it, well, it would be Fafa Joni, or Fafa Joni, Fajoni. Well, we'll see. We'll see what. It'll either be AAB, CCC, it'll be AAB, CCB, AAB, AAC. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. Let's just accept this. Hail, adventurer! You wear the expression of one who seeks new battlegrounds to hone your burgeoning skills. Do not ask how Nedrick knows. He simply knows. Now tell me, are you perchance familiar with the sunken temple of Karn? I will not hold it against you if you are not. The ruins only surfaced when the calamity split the ground asunder. After all, any road, it's a popular destination these days for adventurers looking for new frontiers to explore. If you're keen to join them, why not make the journey to southern Hydaelyn and visit the temple for yourself? But with the many dangers that lurk within the immortal flames are keeping close with watch over the place. But a Lalafell by the name of Bibimu should be able to offer you passage. I think Isa's just gonna continue to stalk me. Let's do Hydaelyn first. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Glad to have you. Whoops. Atelier. Papa Joni's pizza. Oh God, all of you guys are everywhere. The tea drinkers are everywhere. Flee. Hi, Elio. Bye. Oh, that was really funny. Never heard of that breed. Still very cute. Yeah, they're a Scandinavian Viking dog. They are a pure breed. Pure. What is it? Mutt and purebred? Purebred, I think. Right. Oh, where's the coin? Where's the coin? Where are my coins? I feel like a goblin. Like, where's my coins? Where's the shinies? Yeah, okay. Bread. Looks like a chunkier corgi. Purebred. I mean, part of the reason he also looked chunky was the angle at which I was holding him. He's actually pretty in shape. He's actually pretty, I mean, like, he's like the size and scale of a corgi, basically. Okay. Hi, boys.
If it's in the halls of Hydaelyn you need seek no further. Permit me to tell you something of this place. The name comes from the ancient tongue of from an ancient tongue. Hydaelyn meaning the land of many shadows. Funny fact, he's actually talking about one of the ancient tongues of the Lalafell. Although it's not entirely clear based off of some of the ways that EE1 speaks about it, whether it's the ancient Plainsfolk language or a language that existed during Mach, in my opinion. Which is, I think, becomes an interesting question. Hydaelyn meaning the land of many shadows. It was here that our distant ancestors first settled and... You've not come this way to learn for a lesson in history. I beg your pardon, motherfucker. I've done this dungeon 1,000 times. I don't give a flying shit about doing it one more time. You want to tell me about that lore, however, I will sit here all day. The stream will just become Hydaelyn history. But alas, no.
Hi, Deadpool. You just hanging out with me now? You're very good.
Shh. Listen, do you not hear the howls and growls? Do you not feel how they shake the very earth beneath you? Those sounds are the work of no wind, my friend, nor the rumbling, the doing of any shadows. Those are the calls of Hydaelyn. For now, the beasts once kept for the Colosseum lurk here, and these are no gentle beasts broken by the hand of man. No, there are those within that even the might of the immortal flames cannot tame. From the look of you, you must be Elio. I received word from Nedrick that you might be along. By his recommendation, I grant you leave to enter freely. I only pray you're able to find your way out.
It was the third option, it seems. Put screenshot in general after the stream or something if you want to check learn dimension source. Oh, brother, yeah, thanks. And thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, it's like the thing is there's so much to learn in this game, and it's not even about learning in this game. It's so much to memorize in this game that, like, I've talked to that guy multiple times. I've made a video on Aetherites, and even I forgot that specific, whether it was one way or another. So no, I appreciate you taking the time to put that information in an accessible place. Oh, I think I just did that without duty roulette. Or duty support. I think I just did that as duty roulette. Well, looks like we're gonna have some randos. I apologize to them. I was just losing a shit about lost history. Mad respect, because I too would prefer the history. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. Glad to have you. Say hi to the randos. I always do. Every single time I do a dungeon, I say hey all. Always. Oh, hey! No, never mind. I thought one of them had an appropriate lore name for Lalafell. Let's do this. I may focus a little bit more because they're randos, and I do not like underperforming when other people are around. Yeah, sorry if I'm boring for a second. That's what he said. Bravo opening video swings around like a roller coaster ride. Fun getting ready for battle. Yeah, indeed. He is war. Still, yeah, Vixen, that was pretty funny. I really appreciate you were like, hi, Elio. Bye, Elio. That made me laugh. Okay, let's see. Do we speed through or do we need to worry about ads? I know that when the stat squish happened, it made certain things a little bit more like, oh, you do actually need to do the mechanic. Yeah, okay, we're just gonna focus them down. I wish there was not a confirm button for that shit. Yeah, there's a lot of people on. For all you guys who are on, who are in the FC, it's freaking awesome to see you guys on. It's awesome to see you guys on. It's awesome to see you guys talk too. And for those of you who are not in the FC, if you'd like to join our FC on Crystal Curl, you are able to. For those of you who, oh boy, the healer better not. No, oh god, why did they pull the ads? Okay. Should be okay. I just wish you... Come on. This'll be okay. Trust in the white mage. The white mage just doesn't have a lot of tools to adapt right now, and so I don't want to tax them too overly. Oh boy. Oh god, they pulled the thing. good. Okay, I can check you guys real quick. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, Demins, good to see you. Glad to have you. Oh, nothing. You haven't missed much at all. Mostly just some intro stuff with Lancer, me diving through the air, through the middle of the screen, while having a auto-tuned voice. You know, just doing simple dungeons and stuff. Nothing really major. Legasp, Elio, say it isn't so. You're a clicker. What do you mean clicker? For my mitigations? Yes. I have everything bound except for mitigation. I always click on mitigation. There's too many pieces of mitigation. I already have literally all of these buttons other than mitigation bound. I'm not gonna reach I'm going to be slower to move my thumb over. I can move my left and right hand independently. It was at the very, very beginning, too, so it'll be easy to catch. You're not a gamer if you don't mash buttons even now and then. If there's not cool. Oh, fuck, of course I'm gonna cool them out. I'm not gonna, I do not, okay, so here's the thing. If you wanna be the person who waits until it's perfectly timed to hit it, fine, go ahead. I do not understand why you guys are weird about us clicking on repeat. It's weird to me that you guys are weird about that. Like, one, nailing that perfect timing is not fun, and also, often I see people who do that be late and actually end up falling short of the timing, which means you're actually losing DPS. So I will not hear none of that shit. Oh, Jonathan, thanks so much. Holotally, hate fun, make our dungeons great. Choice of phrasing aside, I will say that like A Realm Reborn is not the worst. Like, it's not great, but like the other thing that I think a lot of us forget is that these dungeons need to be simple. There need to be dungeons for people who don't play MMOs to have an entry point into the game that aren't complicated and aren't overwrought. And if everything is as they are later, then it becomes a problem. Now, I think the way you actually fix it is not even necessarily reworking Holotali. I think you make it so that the early level ramp is more fun to play. Now, the problem is if you introduce too much complexity, then it becomes difficult for all the new players as well. Like, so you have the same problem. However, I attest that, but that point said, thank you, Jonathan, for the $20. Let me know if there's any other funny voices or anything you want me to say. And also, I think that we now potentially have reached our funding for our Cactar piggy bank, so I get to put that up in the background once I order it. And it has to arrive and stuff, but I'll make sure to put coins in it and it'll be a fun, good time. Maybe we can make like a little, make the coins in there for something for the community or something. I don't know. I don't make enough coins to make that worthwhile, I guess. But I'm very, very excited to have that. I'm very, very excited to have more decor. And I'm also excited to actually check in with what you guys are saying. Once I get a free second. I'm not playing optimally. I always love looking over to the corner and I see someone's phrase is being hidden, and I'm sitting here just wondering, like, what? I wonder why. And it's always someone being like, fuck my typos. I'm waiting for one of them that actually gets hidden that is actually a problematic. Okay. Okay. Let's catch up on you guys. Let's start from the beginning before we did Holotali. Oh yeah, I didn't pay attention. He wasn't Lancer anymore. Yeah, no worries. That's right, Elio, show us peak performance. Chest, get Lancer loot. Let me feel, fellow degenerate. You know, it's funny, I avoid being, if anything, I would actually broadly describe myself as someone with great effort trying to avoid being a degenerate. So that does not mean I'm not horny from time to time. I try to conserve it, though, for more specific phrasing and moments. He has enough stalkers to get us some carry to follow the dungeon. A healer. He has enough stalkers to get us some of the... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I should... You know what? Let's just go ahead and do that if you guys want to... Well, no, because I'm tanking, so I have to play appropriately, so no. The healer in me is watching your bar, and I'm like, heal Elio now. Do Arcanist Carbuncles do anything, or are they like idle like summoners? They turn into the Eggies, so they're like the focal point for the Eggies. They do matter. You're not a gamer if you don't mash buttons. Button mashing is peak gamer performance. Too bad I'm a Marlboro resident. Have an FC. Elio, I don't want to tax my healer. Elio does wall-to-wall pulls. No. I don't want to tax my healer inappropriately. I was only pulling enough that I know if they were on their GCDs, they can heal. And if they're on their GCDs and I am appropriately applying arm's length and I'm appropriately applying reprisal, slow blowing when appropriate, and ramparting as needed, they will be able to handle it. And I know that because I've run all these dungeons hundreds of times as a tank. I know exactly how much can be handled. However, I knew the amount of mana they were at, where they were at in their OGCD cooldown on that moment where they summoned the elemental sprites. And I knew that if the elemental sprites, when they got summoned right there, didn't have a delay, they would not have been able to heal me fast enough. However, there was a delay for the elemental sprites. So we were fine. But like, I have a really good sense of how much can be handled. That's why you'll see like my health get low down, but we never die. And that's, yeah. We're definitely going to be watching the VOD. Yeah, I wish Ferbalist had a mini. Ferbal, yeah. And again, thank you again, Jonathan. I agree, it's just fun to pick on these early dungeons. Yeah, okay, yeah, Jonathan, okay. No, totally. And I hear a lot of people do it too. I will just say, to everyone, if ever you say stuff like that, know that I will respond to you at face value. It doesn't mean I'm like, how dare you say AR dungeons aren't great? I'll just be like, well, here's why they're problematic, and I'm gonna stand from this standpoint. The logical fallacy is blah, da, 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 da. Well, you know, it's kind of like, agree. I'm a filthy clicker, just cannot keep track of my hands on the numbers wrong. Yeah, see, the thing is, so for instance, I have my shift, control, Q, and shift ER over here. I have my T for here. This is my main, I have that button on my mouse. But my mitigation are these 6 in here, and it's the same for Pally and stuff, and those are always click. And the thing is that I'm moving like this. I even have, I don't have it set up on Elio, but I even actually have one of these set to B. So I think like this one is set to B, so it's really only these 5. Because Passage of Arms I have on my B. But I find that it gives me more fine-tuned control because, one, I don't want to get rid of U, I don't want to get rid of I don't want to get rid of O, I don't want to get like a bunch of these are useful to me, are useful shortcuts that I like. And also having to reach over with my thumb is not any more helpful than being able to control and like, I can do stuff, I can like be like, while still clicking. So I can do both at the same time. So it's not really a save for that clicking. I'm a filthy clicker. And again, Jonathan, thanks for helping me get that Cactar piggy bank. I've wanted that for well over a year. Isn't Holotally technically a dungeon? Will that knock my... Oh, a dungeon. Not... It's more of a, oh my god, what's the word? What's it? I know what, not a menagerie. What is it? This is gonna kill me if I don't find the word. Give me a second. There's a word for this. It's a place where you house animals. Maybe it just is menagerie. I don't think so. There's another word for this. But anyways, it's more of a storage coliseum than it is a dungeon per se. Arguably, which may be a quibbling over nuance, but worth noting, I find. Okay, on to Karn. You know what? I think the main problem with the AA Realm-Reborn dungeons is that some of us have been running them for years and they're stale, but unlike, okay, just stick to the toaster. Yeah, I think that's partially true. I think another big part of it is you don't have interesting abilities for most of them. Like, even at 50, you don't have a lot in the way of interesting abilities. I think it's both of those things. I think they're less elegant than at least the later dungeons are like, no. We know we're linear and on a path, but we're going to make it like bam, ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. Whereas, like, they're not really stop and start, but they don't flow quite the same way. Yeah. Of course you guys are just waiting here. Okay. Who wants to be number 4? I saw off in the distance, I thought I saw you two, and I was like, whoops, all warriors? Is that what we're doing? You know what? Why don't we actually do whoops, all warriors? Or whoops, or like, well, just play. We'll do unsynced, and that way I can actually talk about some of the lore and stuff. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun way of going through some of this. Oh, is he deep or is he high?
Welcome to the Sunken Temple of Karn, or what remains of it. At least, used by ancient Beladians as a place of worship, the sun goddess Azima, much about the temple's history remains shrouded in mystery. While we have sent a research team into the depths, I regret to say that the investigation proceeds at a snail's pace. That is, when it proceeds at all. It would seem that Beladians have rigged the temple with all manner of devious traps and snares to deter temple robbers, no doubt. We have recruited adventurers to assist in disarming of traps, but be forewarned, many who have entered have yet to return. Should you wish to brave the depths, we would welcome your aid.
I don't know. I don't even know how I called you out this time, Koshek. Oh, bread. Okay. We're gonna go into Karn. Let me catch up on chat real quick. You gotta take advantage of 15 days of free gameplay by getting a European tune to 30. What? I think you're gonna take advantage of that 15 days of free gameplay by getting a European tune to 30. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Professor. I clicked to I've been clicker since the game started. I'm not gonna stop now. No, if it's effective and you're not dropping anything and you're not missing inputs, then you shouldn't. Oh my god, me too, honestly. I'm sorry, but I can't remember what's attached to what easily, especially considering they change jobs all the time. Okay, let's catch up on you guys real quick. Let's rapid fire. I wasn't aware you did voices. I watched the Galmorian video that other day and work last. Here you are today on my recommended, so I'm pretty new here. Hey, Jonathan! Yeah! So let's just take a second. Welcome, good to have you. So yes, you can see all of the previous episodes that we've done for this, and we have an MSQ replay playlist. Feel free to go and check that out. I do voices for everything. I also just got a stream deck here, so now I will do a bunch of different voices, like this.
Like this.
Like this.
And like this.
But no, actually more specifically, I will just do voices like this. I'm talking like this, because I'm a Debbie! I'm the type of person who most of the time looks at their cross hotbar like 8% of the time during the fight. Stop calling me out. I feel like I need a finger like ET for some jobs. I need finger like ET. Oh, ET. I never had a hidden that. I didn't let it so far. Want a t-shirt. Thank you, Tethys. Carbuncle job is to be cute. I think that does a job very well. It's to be cute. Yeah, Elvin. It does do that. God damn it, Issa! Always with the malevolence! Ugh. Don't forget to Fruits Party member facts for Crystal Tower. Yeah, some people are trying to recruit into F who don't like the graphics. Well, so one thing I would say about that, Richard, is don't forget that they're doing the engine overhaul. Go ahead and show them that. The other thing I would say is, that's weird. Like, okay, is it a little long in the tooth in some ways? Sure, but it's not like the graphics are bad. And I think that sounds more like a justification or an excuse, or also the sort of thing that people say to themselves when they, like, aren't familiar with it and they're just like, it's different, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, whatever. And then if usually with every time with those people, once I see them actually play for a little bit, they end up loving it. I know because I multiple people in my life have been those people. I just use macro for mitigation. It hasn't failed me yet. Koshek, please tell me you're not actually using a macro for mitigation. Because when you use macros, it's a delayed input. Wait, am I the only one that has all buttons on my mouse? 12 buttons, am I doing? No. Brotherhood, many people do that. Most of my friends do that, so you're not. No. That's a lot of people do that. Remnant of Open Dungeon, Gladiator's Pit, Training Grounds. Oh, everyone's trying to help me with the words. By the way, Ellie, do you know you can turn off that skill error SFX by going to character config and look to... Well, the thing is, usually I don't have that volume on anyway, so it's not a problem, and I literally, my brain has learned to tune it out. However, that said, wait, so which, let's see, settings. Let's go ahead and do that for you guys, so that way you don't have to hear it on repeat. What was it under? Literally, my brain has tuned that out, Atelier, so thanks for pointing this out, though, for everybody else. What was character config? I did systems. I need to do character. Character, what was it? Character config, log window. Display error message when action fails. Okay. Display altitude error message. I definitely don't need it. That's just invalid target. So, okay. Zoo, menagerie, barn, stable, kennel. No. Okay. Let's... Training ground. Nope. Lull was good purchase. Don't forget to grab Cutter's Cry. Yes, I won't, Professor. I'm going to go through all of them. I just... the stream jack was $100, $25 very well sold. BB Moo has the voice of a god. Finally, a truthful voice of all Lullaby. Everyone's going wild for the... Imagine Lullaby with the voice of Morgan Freeman. Or James Earl Jones. Brotherhood, I have an MMO mouse as well. Took a little getting used to, but I'd find it easier. With the upcoming edition of European World, Square Enix is offering 15 days of free gameplay for anyone who makes a new character on the preferred world and gets them to 30. Yeah, no, Elio and Lendriel are the only characters I'm going to play. I don't like having ults. I only have Elio because, well, this is a very particular case, let's just say. I don't take us unless I'm alone. I only said it's because I freak people. Goshek, what do you do? What do you do that freaks people out while you dang? Also, I don't have all of this memorized, but, so, these symbols were symbols of, here, actually, maybe will tell us if we read this? No, okay. Well, let me pull out, Issa and, Tethys, you can feel free to go ahead. I will be trailing behind as I talk about this, and I may be trailing far behind, to be fair. Encyclopedia Eorzean Volume 3. I didn't want to get this right because it's been a while since I've covered this topic, and this was one of the ones that I did notes for, but I didn't. Naniri did a lot of more of the detailed prep for this part. So let's Control F. The Japanese voiceover for lava. I do a hybrid of clicking and keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, same myth. Yeah, they're just delaying the inevitable. My boyfriend and I are a group of 2 random people. Ran this one time. And we opened the options chest behind the door with the tablets. They were not great. Worth we got glass and one on the doors with the tablets. They were not great or worth it. I will say Deathberry. They are great in terms of lore because they imply that Mimifuku, the Meek, probably murdered her husband. Which is very interesting. Yes, okay, so here we go. The Uldah's Flame and Sild's Grapes of Knowledge. So if you look at here, this balancing scales, this is Sild's Grapes of Knowledge, and this is Uldah's Flame. That is the same flame that if you look at the Immortal's Flame symbol, it is the same representation of. And so these symbols end up spanning out further into history, even onto our modern times, and so it's a Beladian ruin, right? But the Belladia had these symbols that end up being split when it's split in twain and becomes Sildi and Uldah. Those symbols maintain. Time for stream pizza roll. Now I'm hungry. Why do you guys always make me hungry? That's also, you get the Helm of Might. Here. Let's go ahead and pick these up. Mitigation macros I don't take unless alone, but I'm telling people about the macros freaks them out. What? Koshek, I've seen you do this multiple times. What? Why would you want to freak people out? I don't get this. What? Okay. All y'all, I'm about to be the like most like, it's not even soapboxy, but just like naive child for a second, but just like, I don't get trolling. Like I get like playful, like some playful banter, but I don't get like, why would you want to like freak people out? I don't get it. I'm not even trying to call you out. I'm just like, I just don't get it. Man, life's already fucking hard enough. Gems of Affluence. If you look at the Immortal Flames banner, actually, let's go ahead and pull up the Immortal Flames banner. That symbol also pops back up. Bum, 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 bum. Here, let's turn on OBS. So, if you look right here, you can see the flame and then the gem, and both of those symbols end up becoming a part of Ul'dah, whereas the helm, I believe the helm and the grapes become part of Sildi. Oh, look at... I mean, one, you guys are adorable, but also two, like, the fact that you're getting in sync with your tea is pretty cool. Let's do this! I can definitely do this solo. Actually, I'm 54. I can totally do this solo. I think that's everything from here. I don't think there's another... Let's make sure there's not anything of interest over here. Yeah, nothing of particular interest, I guess. I'll let you guys handle this. I'm just gonna keep looking out for some details that are worth pointing out. Let's pull back up the chat so we can catch up on you guys. Yu Hase, Japanese voice actor, is pretty deep. I was at Karn to join, but I don't think I have you on my friends list on Ingus. Whoops. All good until you're. I'll make sure to add you later. I don't tangle this alone, but I'm telling people the macros. I play it solo as much as possible. Things I do wrong do not affect other people. Yeah. Is it coincidence the fruit of knowledge is a bunch of grapes? Is it really? No, it's not a coincidence. I did not know that this interesting with lore with the chest. I have to get another look sometime. Yeah, Belladia has a Helm of Might, Gem of Affluence, Flame of Magic, and Grapes of Wrath. I'm gonna go with Grapes of Wrath. That's incorrect, but... should we be grateful if our team has no Mimic chests and dungeons? No. I would adore if they had a Dark Souls style Mimic in one of the dungeons. That would be... Like, literally, you happen to open it, and it literally adds an extra boss to the run. That would be amazing. So yeah, here's the Flame of Magic. The only time I freak people out is when I accidentally hit Super Bull-Eyed, which also freaks me out. Demands, I know more than a few gunbreakers who do that. I know experienced healers who still to this day will go like, and have their assholes clench a little bit. The Fruit of Knowledge. Doom. There are mimic chests. No. But I don't mean like a mimic chest. I mean like a actual, like when you open a mimic chest in Dark Souls, you're getting a fucking encounter. Whereas when you open a mimic chest in this game, it's like, oh, you know, an ad, whatever. It's like, it's not the same. Yeah. But there are mimic chests. There are, I mean, like literally even in Al Sadal, like even in the most recent dungeon, there are mimic chests. So I guess if you meant like that, link the Yu Hase voice in the Discord, watch at your own risk. Yeah. Mimics are in the Palace of the... Yeah, mimics are literally everywhere. They've been in every single part of the game, I believe. I don't need this. I don't hard-killed Super Blind outside of boss fights. Stack regen on that and we're good. Grab an Aster, yeah. Are mimics Sulkin or something else? Let's think. Well, actually, here. Let's, I don't know off the top of my head. I would assume so. Especially the fact that we... Actually, that makes me wonder. Probably almost certainly not Forgekin. That wouldn't really make a lot of sense for a bunch of different reasons. But based on where we find them, I would definitely be more predisposed. Because, like, you think about tomes, right? And, like, the animate tomes. Not finding anything about them here. Ah, Mimic. Oh! Check this out, guys. Mimic. Void Scent. Unlike those Void Scent which require a vessel that was once living tissue, mimics are able to possess inanimate treasure coffers. While this allows for increased opportunities for the creature to enter our realm, it limits their ability to hunt, forcing the Void Scent to wait for their prey to come to them. Fortunately, mortals of the corporeal realm are full to the bursting with greed and are drawn to locked boxes like moths to a flame. Which, if you've played Alzadal's Legacy, should be a hint at what you find at the end of that dungeon. Mimics are obviously Void Scent on equal ranking with Diablos or Ska. Yeah, definitely of the first rung. Definitely. I have not done this in a long time. I have no memory of what order they're supposed to go in. I assume we're supposed to say. Could have sworn mimics were artificial. Hey, if you can find a reference point, so one thing worth remembering, that taxonomy in Final Fantasy XIV is imperfect whenever you see it written down, and it's an art, not a science. Well, I mean, it's kind of a science, but it's not a hard science. So doesn't mean that it's completely accurate. We know for sure that sometimes it's literally made to be inaccurate. On top of that, this one should work, right? Yeah. I wonder how we're supposed to know which one's might and which one's magic. Might and magic. But the other thing I'll say is, there may be multiple types of mimic. There could be some that, or for instance, imagine someone encounters a Void Scent and makes a soulkin in its image. You know? Like, that's also possible. Is there a clue I'm missing on these doors? So that was might. I mean, I'm just gonna assume that this is the order of the, which means that the gem was on the left. Or no. Flame was on the left side. Yeah, okay. I don't care. I don't care about items. Maybe I'm thinking of Mimic Minion, that's the artificial one. That Mimic Minion would almost certainly be a, it was highly likely that would be a Forge or a Soulkin. Mortals, most Void Scents probably are immortal, but not invincible. Well, I mean, it depends on your definition of immortal. Because their etheric soul probably, in a sense, is, especially that we know some of them have existed for the better part of 10 millennia. But how much that is a byproduct of their existence as astrally aligned entities of, should be right. At least it was this, I've never done this. I don't think I've done this since in at least 2 or more years. There it is. Oh, thanks, Issa. There we go. So this is the secret tunnel. They go in order of acquisition, left to right. Cool. Mortals. Most Void Scents probably are immortal. Maybe I'm thinking, could have sworn things were artificial. I was joking, but accidentally stumbled onto something. I was wondering if you were joking. But yeah, so these like secret side tunnels and stuff are all worthy of note. So then the most well, I guess not the most interesting, but one interesting piece of lore to pay attention to is about the people that Azima, about, you know, the people of Karn and Beladia worshipped Azima. And you can see her sabak? Is that what it's called? Secret tunnel through the mountains. But yeah, you can see the symbol of Azima right up here, because this was a temple to her. So, lots of interesting stuff there. Now, Secret Tunnel is going to be in my head for days. Look, I mean, it's been stuck in my head for the better part of, what, at this point, 15 years? So, live with me, Jellybean. Live with me. I need to rewatch The Last Airbender now. I haven't rewatched The Last Airbender. I don't know if I've ever rewatched The Last Airbender. I probably should. Karn Dungeon is one of my inspirations for the Undertaker job. Yeah, AC, I definitely see that. I always had that on mind when you suggested that as well. There's Ingus. Okay, now everyone's just following me around, apparently. Okay, there's no blue on this map. Let's go back. There's quite a few blue in, if anyone has recommendations for blue quests that they want me to do, just go ahead and mention them, and I'll hit them up. The series is so rewatching. Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the series is so worth rewatching. Here's the thing. The vast majority of it, I remember very clearly. And to be fair, actually, there are a couple episodes I have watched recently. So, for instance, I watch Tales from Ba Sing Se about once every year. And to be fair, I'm rewatching it mostly so I can get to Iroh's story. But like his story is made better by building the build to it from everybody else's story. Maybe unlock Palace of the Dead. Hey, there's a good idea. Swear game.
Yes, you there. Yes, you, the decisively unfashioned adventurer. Gods be good. Never have in my life have I seen such an unapologetic focus on function at extreme cost to form. The mere sight of you fair makes my eyes bleed. As a lover of all things aesthetically pleasing, I cannot in good conscience allow you to continue roaming the realm in this sorry state. I believe your appearance can yet be salvaged through the use of color.
Whatever gave you that idea?
I will teach you how to go about dyeing your outfit, but first I must have a drink. The heat is giving me a vicious not this again, and I won't be able to talk for any length of time. Be a dear and buy me a bottle of orange juice at the stall by the northern gates, would you? Once I have moistened my throat, we shall see the business of remedying your appearance.
Really, Sweargeen? Yeah. Yep. Oh, do I have the juice? I guess I just have the juice. I don't know when I got the juice. When did I get... Did I buy orange juice last time and I didn't have it because I got the quest item last time and then I kept the orange juice so I was ready to go this time? I definitely planned that. She said color. She didn't say good color. That's fair, Jellybean. How do I get my hands on the dyeable class armor? It depends on which expansion you mean. Uncle Iroh has hilarious quotes in the series. He's powerful, but it hides under his calm demeanor. Yeah, one of the better written characters of... one of the best. Also, what I think is so important about him is he fulfills simultaneously the wise old man and mentor trope, but also is a human who had made mistakes. Like he's a human. He's a person rather than just a trope. Yeah, leaves from the vine, falling so slow. Yeah, I'm gonna avoid singing the rest of that so I don't cry on stream yet. Rewatched like 5 years ago and held up so well. Yep. How do they keep cold drinks cold in Dandelion? Ice crystals? Definitely that's some of the way that they do it, AC. For most cases, in cases like this, it's you better be quick. Else it's gonna get lukewarm real fast. But yes, definitely for storage and stuff, they definitely use ice crystals, I know for sure. If only Redolent Rose could judge Weird Game's choice of wardrobe. But just watch Redolent Rose be like, oh, glory be! Oh, right, Redolent... I just read off. You're right. Redolent Rose is Mass Rose. Totally different people.
That's a relief. Finally, I can teach you how to bring the color into your life. Listen well. There are handy items called colorants, which allow for folk to dye their outfits veritable rainbow of colors. These colorants are so simple to use, adventurers have no excuse to be fashion unconscious. Lest you worry, the dyeing will affect your garment's precious properties. You may rest assured it will not. The practicality you adventurers love so much will not suffer for the change in appearance. A change, for the better. It should also be gladdened you to know that the garments can be dyed repeatedly, so there's no fear of getting locked into one color. The garish pink that seemed like such a wonderful idea after a dozen glasses of red can be undone. And that is all you need to know about dyeing gear. Now what are you waiting for? Get out there and bring some color to your life.
You guys bring color to my life.
What even is the next quest? Oh, clear. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Memories rekindled. I don't even remember what this one is.
Nothing's like staring out at the sea to bring an old man back to his glory days. Aye, the good old times when my whole life still lay ahead of him, and the greatest adventures were yet to be. Gah! Don't you know better than to sneak up on your elders like that, young'un? Are you trying to send me to an early grave? Well, not an early as such. But don't tell me. Aye, I can see it just from looking at you. You're an adventurer and accomplished one at that, yes? Aye, you may not be the Gravebeard I am, but I reckon you'd memory or two you'd be keen on remembering. So what say you join me for a while before you return to the road? After all, sometimes reflecting on the past can be just what you need to discover the path you forged into the future.
Oh! That's how you unlock New Game Plus. I've totally had no memory of that. Iroh is the one who invented bubble tea, yeah. How does Red and Lewis hold the tiny needles so deftly with his big hands? I mean, I don't know. I have big and shaky hands, but I can do sewing still. I mean, I'm not quite Rogadin hands, but still. You bought some from the market board a few streams ago. Yeah, Jellybean, exactly, yeah. If only Red could So you said color, How do you get my hands in Diablo class? Uncle Iroh, really Sphere game, Pharaoh Sirius Black. May have already been mentioned. I'd step away from the dish, but Pharaoh Sirius? Yes, we're definitely gonna do Pharaoh Sirius, Jellybean. I gotta pick it up though. I forget, do you pick it up from Western Lenosia? I assume so, to get the quest to deal with the, Siren. Oh, the greatest story never told. Yes. Wait, which one's the greatest story never told? Oh, yes, yes, yeah, the one with, in why am I forgetting it? The Footfalls, right? Yeah, Footfalls. With the Silent King and stuff. This one over here. Yeah, we will do that one, but it can wait because it's not time sensitive. We're gonna mainly do the things that are unlocking stuff in A Realm Reborn.
Heard we're in the same trade. You're in better shape than me, though. A mishap at the Wanderer's Palace nearly did me in, but boy was it worth it. The calamity drained near half the water from Bronze Lake, and there it was, the ancient temple of Eorzean. Why it's called a palace then? Beats me. I just went in looking for the treasure, me and my feller. It was like a dream, that's what was like. The water hadn't done a thing. There were gold-framed mirrors, bright as the moon. We gazed upon ourselves draped in chains of pearls dancing on a floor of marble and malachite. Like a king and queen, me and my feller. A daring-do adventurer like yourself wouldn't say no to a chance like that now, would ye? Tell you what, go down to the docks west of Camp Bronze Lake and talk to Abazi Tarazi. Used to be a boon companion of mine. He'll ferry you to the place.
Ooh, I've got some fun things to say about the Wanderer's Palace when we get there. So we're definitely gonna do that. What's this one? This one is where the heart is. Oh, let's definitely get the goblet. Let's go ahead and unlock that. Thank you, Tethys. Hey, Power, good to see you. Glad to have you. How's everything going for you? Greatest stories never told is a bunch of puzzle solving for lore, but next to no reward. Well, lore is a reward. I mean, you have basically the same thing happen in Sharlayan with the Thancred quest. Yeah, I think like there's no bigger difference in explaining my change in mentality over my time playing with this game than my first time doing the greatest story never told and being like, what the fuck was that? To the second time I did it, where I was like, I adore this. This is so good. This is so good.
Have you heard the good news about the goblet? All the quality land so desperately coveted is to be auctioned off to bidders regardless of their origin. Even adventurers have the right to participate. Just imagine the entire area could end up owned by a wealthy foreign... beg your pardon, sir. Isn't that I dislike adventurers, far from it. But when you consider that Ul'dah is still struggling to accommodate countless refugees, the idea that this land is being sold for profit is not surprising whatsoever, come to think of it. Still, the least they could do is give preferential treatment to hardworking Uldans like me. Been saving for years, just waiting for an opportunity like this to come along. Say, you wouldn't happen to be curious as well, would you?
About the goblet. My hands are full here, but if you've a moment, head that way and look into the auction business on my behalf. I'd be ever so grateful. There's bound to be an immortal flame represented by the gates or in the goblet, who can explain what's going on. This wouldn't happen without General Raban's approval, of that much I'm sure. No, it didn't hurt the Tomberries, only the king, no small taunts. Well, to be fair, the only way to deal with, like, with their suffering from the rancor, we have to go in and fight our way through. Not to discount a monument of worship, but doesn't a palace dedicated to a wanderer seem counterintuitive? Not all wanderers are lost. I would like to point out that, you know, this is absolutely not an answer to your point, but, you know, Aragorn was a ranger, but, because it's dedicated to Eorzean, not really, because it's a palace to a god. You know, where, like, even though he is the god of wanderers, he is still a deity. He is still worshipped. You know, it doesn't matter whether or not God is within a church. It's still a place of worship to him, you know, is the idea. It does not matter whether or not a kami resides within a shrine. It is still a place dedicated to them. That would be my articulation of it. Oh, whoops. I'm just gonna go to Horizon. I was about to say, like, where did the cutscene go? This is Thancred is still stuck and echoing in my head because of the memes. No, this is Thancred. I'm generally charmed by that quest. You don't get a lot of quests that is about follow your quest. That isn't about follow your quest marker. I mean, yeah. The other thing too is, I mean, if you haven't, Atelier, if you haven't done the Charlian one, you definitely should. You'd like that too. The other thing about it is, spoiler for the quest, but for the greatest story never told. But ultimately, you go on this insane, like, hunt just to find romantic love poems, ultimately, to someone's mistress. So, that's pretty funny. Oh, are we going high or are we going low?
Heard about the auctions, have you? You're not the first to approach me this day. Aye, 'tis true, in efforts to encourage immigration to our great nation, all lands within the goblet are to be set for adventurers like you. Tragic, some might say, that only adventurers will be permitted to settle within its wards, but such decisions were made by men wiser than I. A beautiful place, the goblet. A man-made oasis built atop a towering butt.
Definitely said that wrong, but I'm going with that. Towering butt, baby. I mean, don't we all love towering butts? That's why we're into row women.
But why bother explaining when you can see it for yourself? Just head through the gates and follow the road. If you wish to know more about the goblet, speak with the recruit stationed just past the entrance. He will be happy to assist you.
We're just gonna go random ward then. I wasn't sure if you were supposed to go into a specific or something. A rather an Ul'don landlord go to hardworking Ul'dons like myself instead of wealthy foreigners. Immediately tells wealthy foreigners about where to buy land. Yeah, Demons, I was thinking the same thing. I love that it just panned, showed the building it showed is fucking. Oh my god, that's a bit of a mismatch. Eorzean is a god that just came in and nobody knows where he comes from, right? Kind of. He basically comes out of the world, but the thing is that how much we should treat the creation myth as factual is unclear. So maybe within the creation, within the popularly believed in creation myth of the 12 in Eorzea, yes, he effectively just came out of the world. But to be fair, like, so did Ulthik. So did multiple of the gods. Some of them were made, but some of them just were brought forth from the world. Oh yeah, I've already done every minor quest in the game. Cool. Of course, if you want to learn more about the Tomberries, you do Scholar quests. Yeah. If you want to learn more about the Tomberries, do both of the Wanderer's Palace and then do the Scholar quest. It's all about that. Towering butts for the win. Romantic. Wouldn't it be funny if the guy's name was Seymour with all his talks about butts? Seymour Butts. Greetings, adventurer, and welcome to the Goblet. Beg your pardon, an Ul'dah woman asked you to learn more about the auctions? Oh dear. As you may have heard, these plots are reserved exclusively for adventurers. Since your friend is an Ul'dah citizen, she is ineligible to participate. That seems odd. Should you yourself have a mind to purchase some... I feel like this is like them guilting us into wanting housing. Like, them guilting us being like, you wanted housing, just know you're taking it away from all the hardworking people of this city. Should you yourself have a mind to purchase a plot, pray speak with a resident caretaker, and he can guide you through the process. I just want to finish the quest. Oh, I can go back to her now. Okay. Yeah, but Althic did it first. A joke told twice isn't fun. What? But what does that have to do? I don't understand. But also, like, what does a joke told twice? Also, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain that he's actually the third one. Let me check something real quick. But I'm pretty sure, didn't Nymea also come forth from the whirl? As well as, I think, maybe even Let me... No, because Ralgar just kind of shows up, I think, if I remember rightly. They don't even explain Ralgar, really. Yeah. In the beginning, there was neither light nor darkness, only the whirl. And it was not until Althic emerged thence in his nakedness did time take its first steps forward. With him, the Keeper also carried weight, and with weight were the realms of land and firmament defined. Yet Althic was not to be alone overlong, for soon the world did another step forth. Her name was Nymea. She was a muling babe, and yada yada yada. Nymea and Althic end up having kids that are Azima and Minfina. And then Thaliak comes forth from the whirl. Yeah, that's what I thought. Azima and Thaliak get together and have Limlane. Yeah, so that's 4 still. And Nafka, yeah. The Whirl lay dormant. Yeah. Created that the new god appeared from, yeah. So the last to appear from the whirl was Oshan. They just don't explain where Ralgar the fuck came from. Yeah. Yeah. And then Oshan is, I believe, the one responsible for creating the twins. Yeah, from the magma. Yeah. Does Nothal not need a divine tool to use in his hands, or does his massive balance count as a tool? Or the other gods we've seen, they usually have items in their hands. I mean, like, gods, they have representational imagery and symbols. Like, he's a magus, partially. I mean, like, okay, Ralgar's also a magus. But, like, the thing is, like, Nothal, his tool, if you have to think of him having a tool, is the scales, yeah. But, like, they don't all need weapons. They can also be casters of magics as well. And, like, that is enough. Described a couple of videos. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, Professor. I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. Right, we hopefully will learn more about the truth. More learn about the truth than the Aethera's creation myths by the end of 6.5. Yeah, we will miss the realm. Isn't it a little weird how the adventures are always set up in our own little ghettos? Although I suppose the rich do themselves in order to not live amongst the plebs. Isn't it a little weird how adventures are always set up in our own little ghettos? They're not ghettos. These are like major industrial districts across all the nation states. So I'm not sure. This is just one of the few places that is treated as a housing region. There aren't a ton of them in general. If anything, we're the opposite of a little ghetto. We're like at a veritable paradise, like a very special place set up for them. It's the opposite of a ghetto. And then I suppose the rich do that to themselves. Yeah, well, the other thing is like in Ul'dah, like that's what the Hemerleia, look at the like Hemerleia, like the, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be housing crafted by the rich for their exclusive use. Obviously Ralgar punched his way into existence. Or as of right now, we simply don't know how much is true and how much is legend. Yes. We at least know they exist. To a degree. Yes. However, we kind of already always assumed that was kind of the case. From quite a bit of evidence. Okay. Let's get back out to the lady. Yeah, guys, like, let's be very careful about talking too much about Myths of the Realm. Okay, fuck it, I'm just teleporting. Also, generally, please avoid discussing other people's videos here that are about lore. I try to avoid watching other lore content creators' videos on subjects that I have not myself covered yet, and that includes jokes or references to that. A lot of these people are people I work with. It is not a comment on the quality of their comments on their content or anything else. It is mostly a habit and a practice that I find very important, so that I can make sure not to like. It's very easy to, once you start making stuff, if you watch other people's things or are working on other people's things or working on your own things, watching other people's content can very easily filter into your own in a way that is not necessarily a good thing. So. You return. Tell me, what have you learned of the auctions? Eh? What do you mean it's reserved exclusively for adventurers? I mean, sure, times are tough and every nation is scrambling to attract formidable fighters. But what about my needs? What about my 40 acres and a chocobo? Ah, it's just not fair. Even storytelling being done there. Where's my 40 acres and a chocobo? Yeah, exactly. I was laughing at that specific quote too. Okay, let's do Wanderer's Palace next, and then we'll do Pharaoh's Sirius. The myth on the part where you choose a deity, it says Memphina appears as a maiden with a skillet. Does that count as their divine tool? I mean, again, it depends on what you mean by a divine tool, but yeah, effectively, I would say so. Oh, also, since we're here, why don't we go ahead and point out the Eorzean stone? The Hecaton Kyries deserve their 40 acres and a chocobo. Yeah, at least some kind of truth and reconciliation. The problem is that most of the, so you can see this even though you're up here, but we actually have to, in order to see it proper, we need to go to Outer Lenosia. But, the problem with Hecaton Kyries is that, like, trying to create... The Hecaton Kyries also don't want peace, so it's hard to not also deal with the fact of defending oneself as well. Now, that said, people could definitely work... A lot more could be done to be making active efforts towards that. But, yeah. Hecaton Kyries' situation is... as they describe it, fucked. Interesting. Here is the Stone of Eorzean. Right outside of the Wanderer's Palace. This structure is the Wanderer's Palace. And you can see Pharaoh Sirius over there in the background. Interesting. The Eorzeans have unique words for all their units of measurement, but not acres. I mean, like, an acres is not, like, a hugely common used one. I mean, like, the fact is they, like, well, I guess depending on your localization, for this point, they use the word acres, or they use English, ergo, like, there is some level of carryover. But yeah, it is interesting, that's for sure. Is the 40 acres in Chocobo a Wild West reference? It feels like one. Yeah, Isa will reference what it specifically is. My brain's blanking, but it's, it had to do with, was it 40 acres and a mule was to do with, was it the Civil War? God, Isa's always just ready and waiting. Yeah, Civil War. Yeah, Civil War, freed slaves. Yep, okay, yes. Okay. Tails. You're one of Alien's, aren't you? The one that got a ghost in her attic. You know, keeps sending other adventurers to the damn place she calls a palace, thinking you're going to bring her fella back. Oh. 'Twas 7 of us that day, one of them and her feller. My best friend was another. As soon as we walked in, a tomberry attacked. It was a dark and we couldn't get to purchase on the floor, for it was covered in a lake of slime, then in blood. What's more there to say? Only Eileen and I made it out by the grace of the 12. Everyone else is dead. I think I'd leave him behind? Leave my brother by another blood? If I hadn't seen what the tomberry left.
I saw no treasure there, only death. I've said my piece. You'll still want to see for yourself. If you still want to see for yourself, that's your business. I ferry you there for my adventuring days are over, and I'm a boatman of this lake. She thinks they're all alive, you see. All 5 of them hiding from the tomberries somewhere in the palace. She tried to flee the infirmary. She told folk about her friends needing rescue. Then she got sly. Ah, poor last Lean.
Does that mean Hildy's mom has been I mean, look, I wouldn't put it past, like, I mean, think about Godbert, you know? I'm just saying. Yes, the Sacred Stone shown by the early era when we're born. I'm not sure what those reference to, Catherine. Reconstruction reference, yes. It's a reference to the actual government. Yeah. Everyone's just, never materialized, but the ideas of I just found you today. Hey, that one thief. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Just found you today. I've been listening to all your videos at work. Wonderful content on your stream. Let's go! Thank you. I'm glad that it has been entertaining for you, and I hope it continues to be. Sorry if my energy's a little bit low today. I'm feeling a little bit off, I guess. But with that said, I hope you continue to enjoy these, and I hope you continue to enjoy the weekly videos as well. I will be continue to be working on that after stream, so I've still got a long day ahead of me. Well, I finished the Eorzean picture. Surprise, surprise. Now I got only 2 tasks. Work and try not to die from overheating. Well, best luck to you, lady. Hildy's mom is absolutely Menfina, and not even the game can tell me otherwise. Okay. Where's Issa? Come here, you Eorzean lady. Zing. Appreciate it, thief. Thank you. Well, I guess we've lost Issa. Oh well. What can you do? Oh, interesting. Do they not have all of ARR? Do they not have the optional dungeons for duty support yet? I mean, that makes sense. I remember they were bringing them in waves. I just didn't remember if it was all of ARR or what. I mean, not all of AR, but I knew it was going to be the hard dungeons. I didn't realize it was going to be all of the selected dungeons. Okay. So, you know what? Before we go any further, let's talk about something that's really weird and interesting. So, according to this game, watch this. So, we see this here, right? You see the symbol of Eorzean up here glowing. And you see all of this here. You also see, bear with me, this is gonna take a second. Across the pond, you see this structure here. The giant, main tower. If you get up here, so, Bronze Lake, right? This is the Bronze Lake. You get close to this. It doesn't say the Wanderer's Palace. However, when you get to this structure, it transforms. It's not this. It's this entire structure here. Now, again, bear with me. So, according to this is the Wanderer's Palace. And maybe it's subterranean, goes underwater and stuff, right? So, like, okay, easy enough to explain. However, you then go inside. The optional dungeons are not getting just the MSQ, none of the post-error quests. Only the MSQ quests I'll do for right now. Yeah, not the optionals, no, only MSQ, yeah. I love how anytime I'll ask a question, if I ever ask, I have to be careful about asking questions because I'll know just get a flood of It's okay to feel off, I hope you feel better. Thanks, lady. But when I look at you when I'm wearing now, I can't help but be scared for the temperature reasons, I'm sure. Yeah, no, it's like, it's only like 60 degrees in here right now. 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which I have no idea. So, if you look you look backwards now, right? That's where we started. You can see, so that's the little ferry there. That's the sim. So, there's no entrance or hole or gateway into where we just went. So what did we enter? And we're staring back across the water now. Yeah, I did point this out with Neri when we were talking about in Lore Talks and Nim. I think our very first Lore Talk. 6.2, yeah, okay. I think it's just funky because of the fact that we can fly now. We're not meant to get near the building. No, because even when if you stand, no, but that doesn't answer what I just said. So here, sorry, Ingus, you're gonna be dealing with this for a second. So here's the thing. This isn't just a flying thing. You can clearly see, standing over here, there is no doorway, there's no structure, and there's more to this. There's more to this yet. But there's no open doorway, no structure, no thing to sail into anywhere around here. None. And again, this is where the Wanderer's Palace is here. Even on the map, it says Wanderer's Palace here. This says the Wanderer's Palace. It is referring to this structure. The symbol of the Wanderer is here. Now, the plot is about to thicken. Magic. Indeed. This doesn't bug me. It's just very interesting to me because I have a theory as to why it might have happened. Okay, guys. So you remember that the main structure that I was talking about in the center of the lake, right? Well, there's the structure. This is the structure there. So that means that this has to either be in the center of the lake or has to be where we started, depending on the distance. It's hard to gauge because of how it looks. But that if that is the structure, then this has to be underwater, which is not the case. Yeah. Maybe a tunnel since we meet Tom. Yeah, exact. See? Now you're getting it. Yep. Oh god, imagine 60 in the States, everything would be a blazing desert. Yep. Insert string theory meme here. Yep. So, what I think happened is they designed the palace, maybe the palace first. Or they designed a version of the overworld, then designed the palace, then realized they needed to change the overworld, didn't have time to change the palace. And so they kept the version of the palace that they had, and even though the overworld changed slightly, the palace was based off of the old version. And that is my theory as to something like that happened, especially when we know how fast 2.0 was developed. It gets up to 110 43 CR. Jesus Christ. Look at that Goobo. The Goob boy. Actually, let me, out of curiosity. So it's about 20 C right now. That's what temperature is down down here. It's very, very cold. It's a big boy. It's a goob. Look at that goob. God, I love Goobo. Any interesting? Oh, so here's another thing. Definitely not a tunnel. Just to further that point. Because this is now the primary structure that we are in front of. All of this, none of this exists. When you're outside, back at where we started, remember, we know for a fact that we are now off to the side. We're to the left because we came down the hallway from here, around here. So none of this makes sense. Also worth noting, the intricate mechanisms of that actually function behind the walls that allowed for a lot of the Oh, also, here's another thing that's interesting. We're elevated. So here's another thing that I've noticed too. If you look here, what we are in is actually elevated off of the water. So it's almost like the water line that you see now in the open world was meant to either be lower or as if it was once meant to be at what it was, then something could happen in the story and it would be lowered and it would reveal the Wanderer's Palace. That's almost what it feels like. Now that still doesn't match up with the original image you see in the background because the waterline seems normal, but that's the only way to make heads or tails of some of it. Could that be inside the palace, Elio? Yeah, but even if you're inside the palace, that doesn't explain the outside perspective when you can see the water at the line level with the palace. Like near the top. Well, no, because we just saw the palace from the outside. We saw like the top of the primary structure, and we still are gonna rise up some. Open air dungeons are weird like that, yeah. Living in California the last couple of years, I've seen it get to, yeah, Callie's been, just pretend it's a tiny phantom realm. My theory is that the in-game world doesn't accurately reflect the full scale and structure of the design. That's not even a theory, I tell you, we know for a fact that's not true. Like, we know for a fact, or not that, we know for a fact that is true. Koji has said as such. Like, for instance, none of the cities are the actual scale they should be considered in terms of, like, their housing population and stuff. So that's been directly stated before, that we should think of it as a video game limitation, and that they are, in reality, larger in scale and scope than they seem. Yeah, so you can see the water, the structures for ferrying water. So this is like, for instance, how you can ferry water around the place, or also keep the palace from flooding. These are the mechanisms that were part of it. Now, to be fair, part of the reason that the palace was flooded in the first place, though, was actually it was because it was intentionally flooded to seal off the Green Death, the Nemean Plague. Is it like a similar thing to the library of Wang Shi Tong and Avatar, like how in top areas? But that, guys, that's what I keep trying to explain, though. That doesn't make sense with, like, that could be true, except for you can see the outside. It doesn't match up with the outside. It's not that level of exposed. Like, what I was trying to show you is when we started is the outside water level is up here. When you're inside, the water level is down here. It doesn't work. It's not like the library from, like, from Avatar and stuff, because the problem isn't that it can't be like that once we're inside, in terms of, like, just if we, in a vacuum, does the palace look like that? It's a problem of it juxtaposed to the outside that does not work, because we can see that when we are within, the water level is far lower than the outside. God, imagining the resource and hardware requirements to accurately present the game on 1-to-1 scale. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, it's not even a hardware issue. You could fake that really easily with hardware. You could, like, get the idea across. I mean, think about like a lot of modern games that can do stuff like that. The problem is the time, and also the time and convenience, right? Like, yes, could they? Sure, but who wants to run around a city of that scale with nothing in it? You know, it has to be to a function. I mean, like, even looked onto Charlayan and the Crystarium, right? Like, yeah, they're much bigger and grandiose and grander in scale, but they're still limited in scope because they need to be useful. Let's see, is there anything interesting? Not really. I guess just the Nemean buttress system, just like, or like pillar system. The like stronger, or the higher pillars on top, the larger pillars on top, smaller on bottom. I guess inverted might be, well, not really inverted, but. Symbol of Ocean. Oh, there's Tomberries, but also Soldiers of Nim. Worth noting that there are Soldiers of Nim and they are skeletons, and which confirms to us that there would have been buttress. Well, but a buttress is the, I mean, some of them are buttresses, but not all of them are. Also, I adore that it, oh, are you just making fun of me because butt? Hey, White Star, good to see you, glad to have you. Counterpoint. The Nemeans place glamours over the entrance to the Wanderer's Palace to prevent people from going in. We know that the people of Relgar's reached it. Yes. The problem is that seal was broken, and that's part of the point that was made about it, so you should be able to see that from without. The other problem is that if that's the case, how are you descending through that glamour? So, for instance, you're sailing across water to get there, and if there's a glamour, that means the water you would fall through the water immediately, right? Because the problem is a waterline differentiation. More than anything. Adding lore within those new areas would be really cool, just like whirl it. Yeah, they could do an add lore reason quest to show another part of the city. Yeah, White Star, that would be really cool. I think that the difficulty when it comes to the cities that already exist, so like Charlene, that'd be a lot easier. Garlemald, that's easier. I mean, Garlemald does that in the latest role quest. I don't feel bad saying that as a spoiler. That's implied in the MSQ and elsewhere, but it made it explicit there. The problem with Ul'dah, Limsa, and Gridania is that effectively, as a map and as like geographic locations, you can see the entirety of them from without already. So expanding them would be really difficult without just justifying that they were adding new additions to the nation state. The other issue is that in doing that, why do that when instead you could make the next major town for an expansion for like Mare City and stuff? I mean, we saw the firmament, right? Like we saw that with Ishgard, but the thing about Ishgard is a lot of Ishgard was blocked off to us. A lot of Ishgard you could get away with not that was invisible to the player. Yeah, it was just because of butt. Just making sure, Demins. Yeah. But I like the idea, White Star. It's just is that a better use of resources and time and energy, and also it's much harder to justify than literally be easier to almost any other map. Ishgard would be easier. Kugane would be easier. Kristarium would be easier. I mean, Kristarium would still be hard because you can already explicitly see a lot of the map, but there are some distant locales that are supposed to be housing and stuff. And everybody ready for the special cutscene? Oh, no. Sorry, that's for hard, not for this. My bad. Since this is YouTube, thank you, Tethys. Well, I'm good at pausing place to have lunch. Oh, sorry, Vixen, sorry, missed you. I hope that if you watch the VOD or come back, you catch that. Good to see you. Thank you for the help, Ignis. Oh, actually, this is all usable. Well, not all of it, I guess, but most of it's pretty usable. 3 of 4 is not bad. Hi, Deadpool. Do you want a hug? I'll give you a hug. Yeah, you want to come here? Come here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Good? You want to wave? Yeah? You want down? No? Okay. I'm busy. I know you want. Yes, it is Puppo break. Your dog is sweet little thing every day and keep posting. Yeah, he's very, very good. He also wants me to go either play with him or cuddle with him, and I can't tell which. Okay, let's go on to Pharos Sirius. Pharos Sirius unlock, is it Western Lenosia, probably? I'm gonna bet it's Aleport. That would make the most sense. It's either Aleport or somewhere in, like, Limsa itself. Or maybe the Isle of Umbra? We'll see. Dog cam. I'm glad everybody loves Deadpool. So, as I showed on the Discord, we had one emote I showed off that we got. Let's just say we have quite a few more incoming. But after those emotes are done, I'm definitely thinking about, okay, bear with me. Imagine an emote of each job, but it's Deadpool as the job. Are people interested in that? Because if so, I'll start raising money for that. Ah, yep, serious business. Here we go. Just a quiet little bit. Yes, and if it's not already clear, Lady is the artist, and she has been helping me with all these emotes, and her art is wonderful, and I'm very excited. Do it, yeah. Oh, dude, if I had a dancer pole, I'd be like, hey, for every $5 you raise, I'll do a swing around the pole. It's the Isle of Umber. No, because it's right here. This is the one. I know it's on the Isle of Umber. I just mean it's the quest pickup in where the quest pickup was.
My first genuine assignment under Master Mimidoa, and now this. Whatever did I do to deserve such a fate? But where are my manners? I'm Diamanda, a smith recently an employee of Naldic and Vimil. I arrived in these parts not a few days past to assist in the restoration of Pharaoh Sirius. Little did I expect my arrival to be greeted by the god's forsaken song, a song I thought confined to my worst nightmare. Yes, I speak of the grim serenade of the foul sea witch that lured my poor father into the water demise so many years ago. So I stand here with idle hands, powerless to avenge his death, powerless to repay my debts to Master Mimidoa. Once I my father's mentor, as he now is mine. The agony of it all. If only my that wasn't okay. Listen. Once my father's mentor as now is mine. The agony of it all. If only my brother were here, he would see to it that. But alas, my brother remains lost at sea. You're an adventurer, are you not? Perhaps if you were to defeat the Siren. Yes, you must. If not for me, then for all the sailors who seek safe passage across the threatening sea. Seek out Master Mimidoa at the pier, and you'll find him gazing grimly in the direction of Pharaoh Sirius, lamenting our fate. I need to set something up really quick. Give me one quick second. There we go. Cool. Okay, cool. That's ready to go then. Your channel is wonderful and very exciting. Good lady. Paladin Doggo, right? Anyone remember Samurai Jack? Yeah, dude, I love Samurai Jack. I still love Tartakovsky's work. I uphold, like, not that I don't love all his other minimalist works, but there is an air to Samurai Jack and its willingness to pace itself so meticulously and slowly and be a meditation on what it is rather than just a story that I don't think I don't know many other stories that have done. I think sometimes Miura's work with, like, Berserk did a lot of the same. Like, I honestly think that there's a lot of ways in which you could see them as not at all similar, but there's a lot of parallels in my mind between some of the spirits of Berserk and its pacing and Samurai Jack. And it's not quite the same. There's a lot more wording in Berserk, and obviously Berserk's way more bleak, but there's a kinship there in letting you sit with some things. But even our Sirens, creations from Alag or an evil race? I actually don't know offhand. I haven't done a bunch of study on their taxonomy. Let's pull up their entry. It's been a while. I mean, the thing is, I've read all of the entries in this game, but I just, there's so much stuff to remember, I sometimes forget. Sirens. Wait. Like, let's do it like Pokemon. Okay.
Sirens, once feared across the Biases, today's Sirens are but the stuff of legends, due in part to a thorough culling of the creatures some years past by the renowned pirate Mistbeard. Recent sightings of the seductive she-devils, however, once again have sea and landsmen alike stating tales of Sirens entrancing entire ship crews with the accursed songs, when feeding on their captive souls until all that remains are lifeless husks.
I'm sure that was a little bit overboard, but I definitely want to create like a Pokedex entry every time I read one of those out. This is a Pokedex about to gain sentience and start calling down sat strikes. Samurai Jack is my favorite. We're back. I agree. Hey, Vixen, glad you're back. I only caught you leaving way late. I never finished watching Samurai Jack, so I should fix that. So here's what I'll say. Samurai Jack, totally worth watching. Its final season is much more of a story than its earlier seasons, and so it's much more narratively dense. It's really good, but if you really liked the earlier stuff, it's not quite the same. But it's really good. Samurai Jack is my favorite cartoon from my childhood. That also Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, those are two of my favorite as well. Those are two of the ones that I go back to with relative frequency and have affected a lot of my works and a lot of things that I've worked with. Also, Aku's VA also voiced. Well, so Aku's, when the voice actor for, well, actually, I think in both cases this happened. Didn't this happen where the voice actor for that took over for Iroh when the voice actor for Aku died was the same. It was same for Iroh and Aku. Maybe I'm wrong. Demins, let me know. For real cool. Yeah, I can see the similarities between Tartakovsky and Mira. Yeah, cool, Eden. So I'm not alone. Whoa, yeah. Skynet Pokedex. Now I want to rewatch both. Pokedex was overtaken by Lavender Town Syndrome. I wonder what that fucking sounded like to you guys. Do what the Scotsman would do. Roast the Sirens with insults. Ah, you sewage! I'll shove you. Yeah. Let's not go R-rated. Let's keep it PG-13 as much as possible. What voice did I do for Mimi Doa? I know I did like the sea captain, but I don't remember like other than that. I'm gonna go deep. Greg Baldwin, yes, that was the VA that took over from Mako when he died. Okay, cool. AC, I'm not wrong. Thank you. I was like, my brain went, wait, didn't? Because I was gonna say like, well, Aku technically was, and then I was like, oh wait, no. Because what happened was I was like, well, wasn't it in that case? But it is in both cases. So that made sense. It's a day. Okay, Elio's apparently trying to kill himself. Definitely did not just like have that go down the wrong tube. Okay. Another initiate, are you? No? Huh? Ain't no one says yes to that. You have a familiar face, though. Come to think of it, you bear a striking resemblance to a brave lad I once met. Helped us chase up one of those goddamn siren fares serious, did he? What's that you say? Speak up, son. Years of hammering have taken their tolls on my ears, and any road. You may not be half the hero your predecessor was, but you know the saying, any port's in a storm. Aye, that's right. Damned if I can tell why, but the Hellsborn hussy is back. Hellsborn is back when she's running roughshod over the place with a crew of her song-snared flunkies, me and Diamanda. We've not to do, but we sit on our asses till someone cleans the place out. Look, this is more than a reclamation project to me and the lass. That scurvy witch killed her father, one of me prize students. I swore a vow to myself to do his name proud and restore the beacon, but these hands were made for hammering, not scuffling with sirens. What say you, fellow, in forbear's footsteps and fight this one for old Mimi Doa? I'll send word to David, the guard at the lighthouse. He'll tell you all you need to know. Please don't, I hate when that happens. Okay, I'll be back later, just gotta take a shower. Have fun, lady! Well... Okay, maybe wishing someone to have fun going to take a shower was not my... Well. Aku was a troll of the highest order. Aku was a troll of the highest order. I also adore the imagery of Aku being his own therapist. Look, I'm trying! Look, if you have fun, awesome. If not, whatever. What do you want from me? Ah, an adventure. You've come not a moment too soon. The siren holed herself up in the lantern chamber up top the structure. The most direct route would be through the front door, but I fear the siren already wise to our intentions and has posted the most formidable of her thralls to guard the entrance. Our only hope to breach our foe's defenses is to attack from below, through the flood setter. If you cannot win the battle for us, I know not who can. Go forth, friend, that Pharaoh Sirius may shine bright anew. Strupture. What, you don't defend the Strupture? Why, guys? Okay. New rule. If you want to talk about food, you also have to consider donating $1 or $2 so I can go get food afterwards. Ingus, I appreciate the effort you're putting into being, like, present and ready to go with the tea emote. Like, look, as someone who has to make videos and do stuff, making sure you're at the right place at the right time, like, for a gag that maybe no one's going to notice or just, like, be present on the side, I appreciate your effort. Know that. Oh, and you too, Teth. And you too. Are you joining in? I'm kind of sad I used Booba and Booty already because I mean, Dungeons and Sirens works because we're doing Dungeons and Dragons and like it's a good joke, but like, but the Booba and Booty of the Siren ain't any weaker than what going on with Garuda. Hey, Scribe, good to see you. Maybe an awkward time to come in the middle of my rant about talking about boobs and booty, but good to have you all the same. Lane, good to see you, glad to have you. Also, Scribe, I'm gonna get back to you. I literally haven't had a moment to do anything that isn't work today. So, but I have not forgotten to message you back. I forgot what you said to me just now. Don't worry, I got you. Oh, hey, it's not. Love your videos. Thankfully, I can hide emote messages. Yeah. All right, fine. I'll get you. Okay, I guess I'm running over to KFC to get queso after, and queso and chips after this. That's what I'm doing with that. Can you do a good Scotsman roasting when you get to Siren? I don't have any. If I had roasts off the top of my head, I could. If someone like wants to write roasts for me to read, I can. But like I got nothing off the top of my head. Feed this. Thanks, Scribe. I can do damage too. Is there anything interesting to talk about? No, just more about the etheric resonators and the aether pump. Yeah, I mean it's literally pretty much everything you assume. The lighthouse is pumped. They use aether to fuel it. Corrupted crystals fucked it up. Not a lot. I mean, like there is interesting lore about everything. You know, actually, well, Ignis, if you guys want to go ahead. There we go. Okay. So, for the entries on Pharaoh Sirius. Situated upon the Isle of Umbra, this colossal lighthouse is erected to guide ships safely through the treacherous reefs near Aleport. Its light shunned by means of revolutionary mechanism developed by Naldic of Emil, which channeled the land's aether into the crystal housed into the beacon chamber before releasing it again. As the calamity wreaked havoc upon the realm, however, the lighthouse was struck clean through by a hail of fireballs, causing vast amounts of aether to spew forth. That aether solidified into the corrupted crystals, leaving behind the dynamic formation of corrupted crystals that remain lodged in the structures to this day. Which I guess so that's interesting, is that the what you see from Pharaoh Sirius is not a mega flare hitting it and solidifying. It is the astrality of Bahamut's effect causing the aether from within the lighthouse itself to create that, which is interesting. Okay. Pharaoh Sirius continues to function after a fashion, owing to the crystals glowing, concerns grieving over its structural integrity. However, the craftsmen were sent to carry out repairs, only to be driven by a dread fiend. A siren seafaring legend had taken up residence within the lighthouse, and intrepid adventurers were called upon to build. Yeah. Siren. With the enthralling song, the seductive she-devils of the waves have lured many of sailors to watery demise. Some years ago, the pirate king Mistbeard hunted them down, and for a time, their ruinous voice were not to be heard upon the five seas. Following the calamity, however, the siren would appear upon the Isle of Umbra with few... Yeah, nothing interesting there. Yeah, okay. The reason I didn't remember anything particularly interesting was because there isn't anything particularly interesting. Okay. Get this man some nuggies. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I love fast food. I got you what you want, so that security does. It's interesting that he's got corrupted crystals in his back. Interesting. To have your aether corrupted that to that extent, like to these guys, the amount it's corrupted is interesting because they're clearly a form of, I mean, they're Ashkin. But to have not your entire form corrupted by astrology and yet have the crystals birth forth from you, or not even being burst forth, but it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Oh, we don't need to go over there. Oh, actually, I need to charting the realm. But yeah, I really love fast food quite a lot. But I tend to try to avoid buying it because it costs money. Get some nuggies. I stated earlier, Sprout playing the game. The Knights of the Barracuda are mentioned in Marauders Guild as the previous organization of the Yellow Jackets. Who were they, and was it in 1.0? Oh, sorry. The Knights of the Barracuda are mentioned in the Marauders Guild as the previous organization. So the Knights of the Barracuda still exist, kind of. We'll talk about that in a second. Sarah must have a PA system and cassette player set up through the lighthouse because she sounds nothing like this when you get to her. The Barracudas were basically the main military force in 1.0, but after an inclusion of the captain of Barracudas, Solmar 12, they were reformed with the Yellow Jackets. They were on board. Yeah, like, so when I say that they're kind of around, it's, what's a good way? There's another way I can explain this. Oh, think about like the Circle of Knowing and the Path of the 12, right? And how those groups, in a sense, still exist, but also they as individuals don't because they become the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. You know, if it weren't for the heat, Tennessee hot chicken would be nice to eat. No, okay, I know this has nothing to do with what you just said, but now I want barbecue. Guys, why do you constantly make me so hungry? You're just hurting yourselves, because either I'm gonna be sad and that'll make you sad, or you'll be happy, or you'll have to give me money, in which case you'll not have money. It's terrible. Pirate King, yo, Monkey D. Luffy about to smash some Garlean cheeks. There's less things I want than for something to burst forth. There's less things I want than for something to burst forth. Yeah, I can get behind that, O'Brien. Yeah, no, and honestly, thanks to Atelier. Atelier gave a much better and concise explanation. So thank you, Atelier, for touching on that. There are a lot of organizations that exist in A Realm Reborn that are like that. There are new representational organizations built from the body of two prior organizations and stuff like that. Stuff like that happens quite a few times. So the answer, I guess, often is, do they still exist? Is no asterisks, no asterisk typically. Or yes asterisk, depending on how you want to define it. What if I give you money, it makes me happy? Well, if giving me money makes you happy, then good. Just know that A, I will always appreciate it. B, I'm sorry I'm shilling. C, it will go to good use that will always either be for one of two things. It will always be for this channel, and that is buying art, buying gear, it will only be for that. The only thing I will ever spend for myself is to eat. And that is to not like I'm not going to go out to get a really nice meal unless like it's something special. It's like it will be for like just food, basic necessities, only because I should probably eat if I want to continue to edit. So if that makes you happy, then power to you. It's not like I'm going to complain, frankly. Buy yourself something cold later to eat or drink. Well, you know, I have my iced tea here is actually pretty cold. I'm actually doing pretty okay on the temps. It's not very bad up where I am. It was bad for a couple days, but it's cooled down a little bit. I went for a walk last night at like 2 a.m. and or 3 a.m. and it was like 64 degrees or something. It was very cool. Is this the part where we go to the near? Just go, Simone.
Souls adrift, my embrace, come hither.
Well, I at least got to use the voice modulation once. You guys were too much. You're too powerful. I'm a choice gift giver in my family. Just fucking love giving people stuff. Man, here's the thing. I'm not okay. So I'm a kind of gift giver in a sense. My like love language isn't gift giving, partially because I had been financially insecure most of my life, and partially because there's so many hobbies and goals and things that I want to do and achieve that I often don't have time to make gifts as readily as I should. So for me, a lot is like it's a kind of gift giving, but it's much more akin to words of affirmation and support in those ways, which is, I mean, I think relatively showable both within these streams and on the Discord as my way of support. It's Birdwife, no Birdwife. Sorry guys, Birdwife be bird gone. Perfect, I'm back in time. Hey, welcome back, Nick. Finished first draft of the emote. Nice, now stream is my treat for finishing. Sweet. That's some amazing cleavage. Just some powerful, yeah. You know what? Here, let's give me a second. Let me. I don't think they've got explore mode for this. No, they don't. Well, never mind. Well, if you want to see her cleavage, just look very closely at the thumbnail for this video, or my taxonomy video. I think I used her in that as well. Okay. Why so soon? Well, I guess we're about to go back up. Well, let's go here. Why don't we just go to? Why don't we pick up the next one? I believe the regularity of accepted amount. I believe the regularity of accepted amount of love languages is about 5. Yeah, I mean it's typically seen of gift giving, words of affirmation, physical intimacy, or not physical, just like touch, like a physical affection. Task helping. There's another term for it, something like that. Oh, trust me, Elio, I did. We try to keep you degens in check, but it's limited. I'll break her island. Well, no, we got Sirius here, so we should just do Sirius in a row.
So, is it true that you triumphed over the Siren? Words cannot express my gratitude. My only regret is that my dear brother could not be here today to hear our father's death has been avenged. He set sail with his crew 3 years past, you see, and hasn't returned to shore. But I hold out hope that his ship shall come sailing into harbor any day now, and on that day I shall be the first to share with him the news of your triumph. In the meanwhile, however, we can finally press on with the restoration of Pharaoh Sirius. I must get to work at once. It would be much in your debt if you could inform Master Mimidoa that the coast is clear for us to begin.
Thank you, Tethys. Thank you, Ray. I guess the other thing too about, like, honestly, just to I prefer being real, so to chat about it real quick. Shilling is honestly more uncomfortable for me than anything, mostly because I've never had excess money of any kind, and so I've never been able to support content creators very well that I have adored and wanted to. And so, like, I feel bad making anyone have to think about that who's in a position where they you don't have excess funds to be able to do something like that with. So know that if that is ever the case, that you should, that I don't just understand like in a general sense, I understand in a very specific sense. Whether that be with me or others too, like I totally get it. Not just I totally get it. You have my empathy. Aye, you done it! Send the bloody silent screeching back to the screeching and shrieking back to the murky depths what you came. You done us a great service today, lad. Everyone made regale o Mimidoa's ears with the tale of the foul wench's last song. What's that? You had to fend off a ghostly crew wearing the sea-sodden duds o old maelstrom men. 'Tis as I feared. The poor lass, me heart goes out to her. 'Twas 3 years ago to the day, give or take a moon. A crew of the maelstrom find us set sail on the routine patrol, but ain't nothing routine in these parts, and they not returned to shore. Rumors spread quickly like that it was the siren song which led the vessel to watery grave. Maelstrom command jumped to the quite the talk. Ill tidings were already too easy to come by those days after the calamity, but those of us in the know, we knew. Like father, like son. Lad, promises this old sod you'll spare a poor Diamanda the truth. Lass already suffered more than her fair share. Diamanda! This cannot be. My brother's still alive at sea. The search effort continues. Master Mimidoa, you yourself have told me the same. Forgive me, Missy. I never meant to deceive. The maelstrom made me swear a vow, you see, that I'd keep the truth buried deep in. Ah, bugger to me, vow, and bugger to me! Truth is, this scurvy coward just couldn't summon the nerve to tell you the truth. Diamanda, can you ever forgive a sorry old sod? There's no need for forgiveness, Master Mimidoa, for the true coward is me. In my heart, I've always known. The adventurer's deeds and your words have finally given me the courage to face the truth. And I am a woman grown. The time for clinging to childish dreams has passed.
and I must look to the future. My smithing skills are still wanting, but I will not falter from the task. Pharaoh Sirius will burn bright once more, a beacon of hope in the darkness of the nights. The fell songs of the sea have claimed their last victim. I shall see to it with my own 2 hands. Strong words, lass. I trust you'll not forget them when your pals will blebby with blistery. My hands. I'll clench my hammer with my teeth if I needs be. Father, brother, do you hear me? Your deaths will not be in vain. Yeah, myth, and its love language is physical touch. Yeah. Poor gal, what a tragic tale. Look, I can't tell you not, like, there are so many little, like, small tragedies in Final Fantasy XIV that are so easy to miss. And I know you may, like, look at that quest right there and, like, how does anyone miss that? And it's like, if you're not internalizing or paying close attention, sometimes you just, they don't stick. Or they gloss over them, or, you know, there's a bunch of reasons that it happens. And sometimes people just accidentally skip, or what have you. No, we do want unrestricted. Okay, no, everything's complete. Did I... Oh, Power, were you saying that I had to go do Hullbreaker Island before I can unlock the Pharaoh Sirius hard? Or maybe I have to get into 2.1 or something? Well, either way, I'm glad I did that quest because that's an emotional, lovely emotional tale. Hullbreaker Island, where would that probably be? Let me think. I just want to think real quick where it might be. If I were to guess, I would say Limsa because it's to do, well, the original Hullbreaker isn't to do with Mistbeard, but the later one is. I'm gonna go to Limsa and we'll see what happens. Yep, Power Limsa. Power, you on it. You know this shit. Have you, like, done a Realm Reborn recently, or, like, do you just remember this shit real well? Do you also get the cutscene if you remove the quest after you get the unlock? I don't know. I have no idea, Nick. It's a good question. I would assume so. I might go to Av Castle quick and see. I've been going back through the game to do all the side quests, and I found so many good small stories and storyline. Like, Demins, that's the thing, again, like, that's the tragedy, is, like, if you're treating the quests as, Swift Perch, Highway Robbery, it came from the deep. Well, oh, they came from the deep, that's tribe quests. We're gonna have to start doing tribe quests soon. In fact, we may, like, I'll figure that out soon. We may even, like, start, we'll see. Where is it? Okay, so Swift Perch, that's not going to be it. So you want to be Culinarian, that's not going to be it. Was it down below? I'll let you guys figure out. I was just picking my fave. Oh, okay, Power. Good to know. What makes Hullbreaker your fave? I'd love to know. I've been going back through the game. So yeah, that's the thing, is that I know that when I started doing side quests when I was first into Realm Reborn and struggling with getting into the game, I was treating them like World of Warcraft side quests or Guild Wars, like normal game side quests where they're not. You have to just enjoy the small tales and the little stories. That's what it's about. Pharisees, Stars, and Heavens were dungeon action. Oh! Thanks, Atelier. I literally... I forget that a bunch of them, like Amdapor Hard and stuff, are actually Heavensward dungeons and not later Realm Reborn. Thanks. Exactly. I didn't get the Darkness of Sahagin dungeon till your video. Never noticed the whole Forest Company theme. Yeah. With Sastasha. Yeah, there's so much going on in the background of everything. It's Thancred Waters and... oh, God. Oh, no, sorry. It's Thaldred. This is Thaladred Waters and Urbadanger Augriel. Oh, beautiful. Hey, it's Jellybean! Jellybean with their Tomberry that's about half their size. Problem is there were a lot of garbage side quests in Realm Reborn, even Heavensward, so skipping them felt natural to me. You know, the thing is, Eden, I will say, is that if you haven't done them of late, a lot of the ones that seemed like garbage, if you care about the lore, not unconditionally, but if you do care about the lore, aren't as garbage. They're not as garbage as they seem. I'm small but fierce. I would hard disagree with the statement, Eden. Yeah, I can't say I agree.
I don't think that there are actually that many garbage ones. I think the problem is that if you are looking for S tier and A tier, and you're looking for a lot of rewards that are extrinsic rather than sort of just, that are just rooted in being giving you something specific rather than something just about the world, then I get it. But I don't think they are garbage. I know that there would be one point in my life where I did agree with you on that. It's because it's funny how Miss Beer's been hiding in plain sight. Yeah, I mean, like, it's so clear who it is. Like, they don't even, like... Where is it? Out of the blue. Is this it? This would make sense for out of the blue. No, blue quest. Oh, duh. We'll do that. That's later. That's definitely for later. Am I going crazy? Where the frick-a-frack is it? I'll go look it up in a second if no one tells me. There's definitely a quest where it totally feels like this is just a chore, but there's still an interesting story behind it at least. Yeah, there are definitely 100,000% quests that are kind of like chores, and that the quest design is not great. But to me, a garbage quest is a quest with no value. That's what garbage means. Flawed or maybe uninteresting to engage with, totally. And not to police language, I just like, I feel that way, and I get fellas, especially when comparing them to side quests from... Yeah, but I think that's the problem, though, Eden. Why are you comparing them to that? That's what I don't understand. No. Endwalker's quests are way better than Stormblood's quests. Endwalker's quests are way better than Heavensward quests, in my opinion. That doesn't take away the value of it. I think I disagree with your fundamental assertion here around needing to compare them as to create metrics of value for whether or not they are valuable in and of themselves. The quests have merit and value that show you and tell you about the world of Eorzea. And while the Shadowbringing quests are more interesting, and they're better designed in terms of engaging with to a degree, they're valuable in that sense because they tell you about Norvrent. So I disagree with the fundamental need to contrast them in that way. It's Revenant's Toll. That's why I couldn't find it. Is it Hullbreaker Hard that's in Limsa? Is that what you meant, Power? Okay, to ramp under the drowning. It's on the ramp under the drowning wench. I didn't see one there. I think that might be hard. Definitely not the Outlandish Man. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up. Hullbreaker Island. You unlock it. King of the Hull. No, it's Lenosia. It's lower. Okay, so everyone's wrong. It's lower Lenosia. Ah. I should have gone with my gut on it being lower with the Morbi Dry Docks. Yeah, but you can't unlock hard yet, so. What said fucking lower Lenosia? Did they change that too? What the fuck? Or where the hardest? What is going on with life? Or is the wiki just wrong? King of the Hull. Where? No. What? Okay, wiki. Fuck you too. It is Mordona. Not to you guys. I guess I should. Blozong. Zoing. Literally, if I had just gone to the left. That's on me. Unfortunately, I have to go. My phone is about to die. Oh, I'm charging how much. I'll return the Still Gang. I'll have a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks, Deathberry, for joining in. Always glad to have you. I don't know if you saw my post in the Discord, but I ran across Thancred and Urban Danger at Busgrounds Brothers earlier. No, it's funny. I see guys like that all around. It's interesting because I always find I'm not surprised by like Thancred and stuff like Thancred Waters, which Zalera, but it's always interesting that it is always Thancred and Urianche. I fully believe the team started creating more high-quality content as far as side quests go as the bar kept getting raised for each expansion. Yeah. I agree with Lane's assessment. Yeah, but Lane's assessment agrees with mine, Eden. Whereas yours, like, so. Yeah, Heartbreaker Island. So, my point is that not about. My point is, for instance, saying a Realm Reborn is bad is different than saying Endwalker or Shadowbringers, let's say, built off of the foundation of a Realm Reborn and kept improving. And I think those are very, very different things. The same way that I think saying, you know, it's very, very different to say Heaven's Word is, or like Shadowbringers is better than Heaven's Word, or Heaven's Word's better than Shadowbringers, versus talking about their strengths. If you think about the way in which a Realm Reborn's quests are flawed because of some of the ways that they engage with them, it's fine, like, and fair, and that things continue to improve, and that can be lauded. But to say that they, like, those quests at that period of time, like, those times, while not best, are reasonable for what the constraints under which they're created, and still work relatively well in terms of affording you an understanding of the world. And that understanding can deepen your appreciation for things that end up interconnecting into Heavensward and Stormblood and Shadowbringers and Endwalker. And so I think to call them garbage is very different. I'm always told I'm wrong, not new. Catherine, I don't even know what that was too. Wow, Wiki, set up your game. Also, hey, I've been lurking on the stream, taking care of things. Awesome, Aaron, good to see you, glad to have you. I'm back. Are you winning a Warrior of Light? Yes, I'm walking on to the end. Oh God, Serene, I drank 2 Fantasia today, so get a milkshake. I literally was gonna make a joke about you being here and wondering if I could get a milkshake today. If your two pounds combined with the $5 from earlier. Oh my God, I'm forgetting. I'm already forgetting. I know your name symbol, but why let me look up quick, because I'll know I'll find it. Anyways, I almost have enough for a meal. Yeah, okay, was you Vixen? I was like, was it Vixen? Oh God. Sorry, you'd think I'd be able to remember, like, more clearly when someone offers me, like, that kind of financial compensation.
Aye, you're Elio Fougeron by the Onion. I was hoping that you'd come by. You got a message from an old friend of mine. Needs you to help for an important task, he says. It's highly confidential business, so I can't give you his name. Let's just say he's well known in Limsa. Odds are you'll recognize him. Any roads, I'm not at liberty to divulge anymore. If you have a mind to take on the task, head over to Limsa and seek out a bloke named Denston. That's not my friend, mind you, but one of his men. Actually, are these other dungeons? No, that's... Actually, wait, Curtain Slay, is that? I think that might be... No. It's definitely Pirates, this is Sasha Hard, and then what's the other? Nabi Green. Yeah, okay, that's okay, so let's just grab those two. By the Onion, you're Elio. You couldn't have come at a better time. A friend of mine sent word that he needs a capable adventurer, you see, and I naturally thought of you. Who's this friend, you ask? Why, none other than Commodore Raynor of the Yellow Jackets. He and I met back when I first started out as a culinarian, and we've been friends ever since. Any road, I appreciate it if you pay him a visit and inquire as to what he needs doing. You'll find him in the Coral Tower with his Yellow Jackets. Ah, nah. Good day to you, my wayfaring friend. Say, you wouldn't happen to be a man who slew the Tomberry King, would you? One could say that. I knew it, by the Onion. I was about to make a joke about him not saying by the Onion. I have a fine gent for you. I'm looking for you, that is. He has an appetizing proposal on the table, and I think you should pay him a visit. He's one of the treasure hunters at Camp Bronze Lake. Oh, and he will be, of course, be there with his partner. The two are inseparable, but I'll let them tell you more themselves. Well, off to Lenosia with you. Who can pronounce that name? This name? Which name? Blowzoing? Here, let's look up. I should be able to with a little bit of help. I literally made a video on this. You'd think I'd be better at pronouncing them. There's one rule I have to work up. No, I don't have to worry about that. Okay, OA is ooh. So it's Bluzo. It's okay, so that's Bluzoing.
Blue zoom. That's how you're supposed to do it. Blue zoom. Because OE is like blue, ooh, ooh, ooh. So it's blue zoom. Blue zoom. You're welcome. No worry, friend. I know there's a lot to keep up with. I was back upstairs. BRB. Right, I had to bed. Okay, night, Nick. Good to see you. Glad to have you. I definitely found some interesting and dark stories in the Realm Reborn Fates quest, like the two lovers outside of Limsa and the guys afraid of it. Afraid of the jellyfish monster. Yeah, you know, or I mean, like, there's the whole, like, story around the goblins around the Hammerlea that's kind of sad. All sorts of stuff. What's the order? Let's do King of the Hall first. Oh, right, I forgot it actually leaves from Limsa. Don't buy the onion anything. It'll make you cry. Blue zone. Yeah, it's blue zoom. Blue zoom. I always forget there's interesting lore and fates. I mean, there's tons, yeah. Tons and tons. Blue zoom. They put those names in there to keep us on the toes. Wait till they try to pronounce that name. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the point at which we get more content with Rogadin in it, where we get more content with Rogadin in it that is voiced, so that way, and especially like Seawolf Rogadin, because other than like Merlwib, I think she says Enzar, so I guess Enzar. But, oh, Jellybean just showing up. I'm wondering where else. Like, I want to have more row representation in the story. Damn it! You're Elio Fortran, are you? The chief will be pleased that you came. Now, time of the essence, so I'll get straight to business. During your travels, I might have been heard to tell o' Mistybeard, the legendary pirate. Hells, I'd be surprised if you hadn't heard of the bloke. Ain't a soul in Limsa that don't know his exploits. Nary a ship of the five seas was safe from Mistybeard's grasp, not even the golden fleet of Ul'dah. But one day, at the height of his notoriety, the man vanished without a trace while sailing the Rotano. Since then, rumors spread that Mistybeard left behind a treasure trove of plunder. Folk believe it's somewhere out there, just waiting to be plucked like a ripe fruit. Your task pertains to that treasure. I'll take over from here, Dunstan. Enzar! Chief. Greetings, my friend. It's been a while since you sent the Black Wolf to the Seventh Hell. Before I begin, let me make it clear. I do not request your aid in my capacity as a storm marshal. Nay, the matter is purely private. With the detail established, I shall continue Dunstan's tale. For a time, folk have lost interest in Mistybeard's cache. Such was its elusiveness. But recent developments have treasure hunters across the realm stirring anew. South Vilbrand upon the Rotano Sea there lies the Cialdales. Cialdales. Along the fringe of those remote islands there's an expanse of water into which few ships dare to venture. Nature has conspired to perpetually shroud the area in heavy mists. A man can hardly see his own hand in front of him. Be it by accident or intent, countless vessels have entered the mist, never to be seen again. Over the years, some few survivors have washed ashore with the tales of an island hid within, which appeared without warning to smash their ships into flotsam. So it was the legends of Hullbreaker Island were born. In the wake of the calamity, however, it came to be that the mist would lift under certain conditions, and as luck would have it, on one such day, a merchant mistakenly sailed straight into the area. The ship eventually came upon a deserted island, where it made an astonishing discovery. The Har, Mistybeard's own flagship, lying broken within a cove. Though he yearned to explore the wreck, the captain wisely chose to return to familiar waters before the mist could regather. Upon returning to Limsa, he forbade his crew from revealing the discovery to a single soul, but word inevitably spread, as is often the way of such things. Even as we speak, treasure hunters are scrambling to find a way to the legendary Hullbreaker Island, that they might claim Mistybeard's cache. I would have you get there before they do, Elio, and retrieve a single object from the Har, a golden coffer bearing Mistybeard's crest. The chief would do the job. The chief would do the job himself, but he's being a storm marshal is like to attract unwanted attention. That's why he wants you to go in his stead. So long as you bring back what he asks for, you're welcome to keep whatever else you find. Though I make my request off the record, I must impress upon you the matters of the grave import to our nation's fortune. I shall be praying for your success. Now,
Now, no doubt you're wondering how you get to their island. I got a ship moored at Moraby Dry Dock. Meet me there when your preparations are in order, and I'll ferry you over. That's why it said Moraby Dry Dock. That's why I was confused. I was gonna say, like, wait, I don't remember there being an entrance to a dungeon in Limsa, and it's not. It's there. Come on, there we go. They put those names in to keep toes. Oh no, the broken thing. You ever get startled by someone's message so much that you're literally frozen without knowing how to feel and what to do? That's how I feel right now. Bad kind or good kind? Because I mean, like, if I have a really mean, if I thought things were going well and then I get a really mean or passive aggressive message or like really bad news, my stomach drops out from under me and I feel terrible. So like, especially if I'm not expecting it. However, I guess I also get that if it's a good one. Like if like a girl you fancy, you're attracted to, and she tells you, oh, I'm interested in you or something. Like, I guess that's the only other time I think about getting something like that. More Rogan content? Yes, please. Well, hopefully Eorzean will be... Skills, Atelier. Skills. Hopefully, whenever we do Eorzean, that'll be related to the MSQ, and therefore we'll have to justify a bunch of Rogan content. Shh, I'm just doing NPC things. Always up for rogue content. Yep. Not probable, but if they ever do a full Eorzean, yeah, we wouldn't get an Eorzean expansion. Eorzean's not big enough. It just wouldn't happen. But Eorzean could be. I don't necessarily think it would be, but it could be like a city. But so for instance, there's Eorzean here. So the thing is that if we go to Meracidia is down here, and the New World's over here. And the thing is that we're going to the New World. Why would you do Eorzean over Sharlayan? Or, you know, if you're going to Meracidia, why would you do Eorzean over Thavnair or more of Hingashi proper? Or, I mean, we already have Kugane and stuff. You know, or like Volnane. Like, imagine if we went to Volnane. That would make a lot of sense for a locale, for a city, if Volnane was our launching point. That said, if we go to even further north, Eorzean might make sense. Or perhaps if, could be for a relic weapon, although I feel like something like Corvos would make more sense for that. There's a lot of reasons we could go to Eorzean. There's just not a lot of good reasons that we get, like, it being a major locale for MSQ. And that's sad, but probably true. They can start by unclouding the rest of Ilsabard. It's been a decade for crying out loud. So, like, the thing about Ilsabard is yes, I'm upset about it. I'm not that bothered by it because here's why. When in Endwalker we got Garlemald, we only got a very limited section. We know about Nalmask. We know about Landis. We know about other places here. And we know that, I think the thing is that, and then we know about Corvos. And I think they want to use those locales still, but if they predefine them, they're going to limit their options in terms of what they do. So I do respect keeping it covered for a little bit longer, as much as I do find it frustrating. For instance, you know, you have the anchor out of Corvos here, right? But you've also got Baja. So, like, you means that you have like Dalmasca. It means like Baja has to be somewhere in here, but then like also Zadnor would have to be up here. So that means like all of Baja is in this zone because you need Zadnor here, Baja here, because it's, you know, with very, and then, but if this is Corvos, does Corvos hang around all the way over here? But if it does, then, I mean, like, Whirlit makes sense here, but so if Corvos does extend all the way over here, that makes it a huge power. So it's more likely that it's only within here, but then that means what's in here. And if Whirlit's in here, it's not like the Gimlet Dark extends all the way over here. The Gimlet Dark is mainly over in here. So the thing is, I totally respect the need to like, I think more in game design first, and I think that's, you know, it's frustrating, but I'm very sympathetic to it. Let's catch up on you guys. It's like Limsa's worst kept secret. The people of Limsa are clueless, yeah, about Mistbeard. Storm Marshal is an interesting fellow, you know. I think the most forgettable Marshal has to be the guy from the Adders. Well, yeah, probably, that's fair. I never did this mission. Oh, you should, it's a good one. Bad kind, it's a long story, but there's something that makes my insides swirl with intense anxiety, so I'm just gonna grab Veil and see and listen to the stream while do some Hildebrand. Okay, lady, if you want to talk later, we definitely can. Speaking of row, I still need to actually make my row. Do it. Less telling, more showing. Commit to their narrative. I think they commit to their narrative, though. I don't think, no, I don't, but they do show. Like, we did get show when it came to Whirlit. We did get show in all the ways that mattered. Like, we got Baja. We didn't get, I'd rather have doing Zadnor and Baja and Whirlit than just seeing them on the map. And I think that the trade-off there is understandable.
Everything's in order then. Let's go to the Hollybreaker Island before a swarm with scavengers. I'll get us there in one piece, never ye fear. I've been keeping an eye on the weather and I know exactly where the mists will clear up. But when ye arrive, make your way to the Rake of the Har. Miss Beard's coffer's bound to be somewhere inside. As for how you're supposed to get back afterwards, I'm sure you'll figure something out. The resourceful venture that ye are. I'll be waiting for ye in Limsa. Wait, was the Gladion Accord from Limsa considered a failure or not? The NPCs are given to me and mixed those opinions do. Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by success. Like, the Gladion Accord, not really in some ways, in most ways. Okay, we got people. Are we unsynced? Yes. Like, the Gladion Accord worked in so much that it has held together, but it's not worked in other ways around, like, the frictions. I mean, okay, you know, I guess 5.4 would suggest that the Gladion Accord did work on the whole. So I guess it didn't. It's not that it worked in solving all the problems, but it did hold. It did like. It's been a hard-won battle. It's been a hard-fought battle even after its creation. So, and also, at the time of A Realm Reborn, remember, you're coming off of the back end of the Seventh Umbral Calamity, and tensions are high, and the lines for the seams are fraying for a lot of people. And so because of that, you end up in a situation where it seems like things are a powder keg, and it's not clear how it's going to go. Now, we have the benefit of hindsight, having done everything up into Endwalker, that kind of shows that effectively it ends up being good. But you also have to wonder about the things around the Gladion Accord, like the relationship with the kobolds. Like, that's not really necessarily a part of it in the same way, but your metrics of success may vary. It successfully uplifted Limsa's image in the eyes of the other city-states and mostly removed piracy, right? Yes. I mean, like, yes. In terms of those points, yes. Now, the thing I would point out is that it succeeded in ending piracy in only so much that because it made them privateers. So it technically, in a sense, didn't really end privacy. I mean, it did, but it didn't end privacy. It just made it so that they could only attack Garlean ships. Now, the problem was always going to be what happens when Garlemald's gone. So what elements was Seventh Umbral Calamity? Astral. Its polarity was astral. Like, think about how the 8th Umbral Calamity was a calamity of Umbral. The 7th Umbral Calamity was a calamity of Astral. It makes sense doing this before Sasasha Hard due to what the final bosses are. Oh, yeah, you know what? That's actually a good point. I didn't consider that. I forget which coffer is the right one, but it don't matter. Ah, Void Scent. As we discussed today already. Although one has to wonder why. Did they, like, find a chest and then carry that chest as a Void Scent to this location? Or did they Void Scent possess something here? Because the former seems more probable than the latter. Umbral Academy. Oh, Ray. That's also why corrupted crystals are corrupted in the way they are. They're overly charged and aspected towards... Like, they're overly charged elementally and overly aspected, mostly astrally. Which effectively basically makes them radioactive. That's why they're so dangerous. Because the other thing is that they want to reach a type of equilibrium, and so they're going to probably convert everything around them towards that direction. And I don't know if you know this, but excessive amounts of radioactivity, not good. I mean, again, they're not literally radioactive, but they're effectively radioactive. I mean, we don't even have any sense that elements and radioactivity in any meaningful way in the Final Fantasy XIV universe exist in that way. I mean, with how aetherology and metaphysics works, I would suspect that there is no version of some conventional things that we would think of as conventional. For instance, we don't even know that genealogy or, like, DNA exists in any meaningful way. And what does that mean in a world in which everything is comprised of aether? And while we're all comprised of energy, so I mean, like, it still holds, but. Everything is crystals. Well, everything is aether, and crystals are all made up of aether. But, I mean, yeah, everything is definitely aether. Not everything is crystals, though. We're not crystals. Unless you mean, like, chemistry, real-world chemistry. What's the difference between synced and unsynced? I was told them to do synced. So, you probably almost always want to do things synced your first time. Synced is you are the appropriate level. So notice I'm level 54, even though this is a 50 dungeon, and these guys are 90 and 90. If you do it synced, everyone in here would be 50, and you would need to do it with 4 people, and they would have to be the correct jobs. However, because we do it unsynced, you can come in with any amount of people. Well, not any amount of people, but you can come in with fewer people than you need, and they're any level, and they can be any job. Now, synced is basically, oh, hey, I want to run this because I want to get a specific glam, or I just want to look at some part of the level, or, you know, all sorts of reasons. But if you want to experience the dungeon as like an actual piece of content, you want to do synced. Unsynced is effectively skipping it. We're only doing that because I don't need to do this on repeat. Most people have already seen it, and there's just not a lot of interest to some of the early or Realm Reborn dungeons in a way that, like, and then even some of the later dungeons that would warrant needing to do them synced at this point. Actually, DNA could be a thing. I mean, the elegance of clones and variants. No, well, but Miss, that's the thing is, that's the important thing. It's not really an actually there. It's, yeah, DNA you could speculate could be because they can clone, but not necessarily. We don't know that cloning in their universe isn't a complete. They have the term cloning. Does not mean they're cloning via DNA. For instance, it could be that aetherologically, they are cloning a specific crystalline signature based on the aether's presence in the body, and that is a representational of a specific aspecting of umbrality combined with earth elemental aspecting, and that is actually representational of how you get genetic sequencing, like what amounts to genetic sequencing. So, like, my point being, yeah, there are things that effectively, like, genophenotype, right, in terms of, like, present as what in our world would seem as such, but doesn't mean that it is as such within their world. And we have numerous examples of cases where things don't play out the same, that it isn't good to assume that they should, partially because once you start saying they are the same, people will run with that and take that as given. And so while we can speculate that could it work that way? Maybe. But the fact that, for instance, the way, for instance, minerals are explained is attunements of earth aspecting and earth aspected aether and other different combinations of aetherological of elements and stuff, right? There's not periodic elements in a sense when it comes to talking about minerals. So there's no example of periodic elements in a way that's quite sane and meaningful. I know it's random, but can you explain the echo? Yes, I can, D. Just 1 second. For some reason, I always thought Jorm? Jorm? Is a funny sounding name for a boss, but I probably didn't read it correctly. The Kraken? Or was there another enemy named that? I played for over 2 years and no one explained it that well. Oh, well, good. I'm glad that was useful. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. Explaining the echo is hard. Well, actually, not really. The echo's not that hard. Echo's easier. The Blessing of Light's the one that's hard. The echo's not that bad. Especially depending on if you're in game. Yeah. Well, okay. If you're not caught up, understanding the echo is intentionally vague. There's still so much we don't know about the world of Eorzean. Yeah, tons. By the way, love the boss theme. Yeah, when they call clones, don't necessarily look much like the original, so it's the same word, may not mean the same thing. Yeah, Blood Beneath the Banners is such a banger from 1.0, so happy they reused it for the dungeon. Worm was the named Jorm. Oh, interesting. It's probably a reference to a mythological figure. Here, let's look it up quick. It's interesting. Okay, give me a second. Okay, it's Scandinavian. And it's Shorm or sea serpent. It's just the generic term for a sea serpent in Scandinavian myth. Or in at least some kinds of Scandinavian myths, not in all Scandinavian. Pronunciate. Curious how to pronounce it. No, I don't want to pronounce storm. I'm not that bad at spelling. Okay, well, fuck it. Looks like no one's using it on the reg. But okay, so for the echo. So I'm going to pause for a second here to say what I am about to explain has to do with 5.x onwards. So if you have not watched Endwalker, or if you've not played Shadowbringers and Endwalker, you are going to want to not listen for a couple minutes. I will give me 60 seconds. So I'm going to start my 60-second clock on here, and I have until the end of that to try and cover it. Okay, so on the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the Echo is the ability that you get when you have an ancient soul inside of you. Because you have an ancient soul inside of you, you have the memory of the final days as well as an etheric density that's very specific and the capabilities of some of them. Because of that, what happens is when you witness the Star Shower, you remember the events of the final day. Part of your soul remembers the events of the final days and activates and awakens some of the abilities that the ancients had within them. Now, the ability for that is, for instance, the manipulation of memory aether, which means that you're able to remember, tap into other people's souls' memory aether as well as the aether of the land, which is why you can also see echoes that are not just from people, but from the world itself. On top of that, you also have the separate abilities that some of the ancients also had, and that's why it presents differently a bunch of different scions. For instance, like Kryl has the ability to tap into people's emotions and memories, and it's also why they have the language ability. So it's all a byproduct of that fact, and it's why some people have the Echo and why some people don't. If you do have the Echo, it means because you had a sundered soul within you. If you don't, it means you probably didn't. However, it could be that you just haven't awakened to it yet. With all of that said, the Blessing of Light is separate from the Echo. The Echo and the Blessing of Light are completely different. The Blessing of Light is a word given to us by Hydaelyn/Renat. Okay. We're all good. Covered it. I think that should be it. If anyone still has any questions, can message me in the Discord. Okay, I'm actually surprised I actually got through all of that in 60 seconds. Okay. I got some water. I hope that was useful, D. Because that came out fast. It's definitely pirates. Where do we go? We go to Marauders Guild. Okay. Hey, yeah, good to see you. Glad to have you. Yes, if there's one thing I can do, it's I can be very animated and talk very fast. Now, whether or not it's nonsense, that is a separate question. As Ray has taken to pointing out, if I was any more animated, I would basically just be Kermit the Frog. Or what about the Resonance? G. Santiago, good to see you. Glad to have you. The Resonant, this I can't explain, and this is Stormblood, so I don't feel as bad. The Resonant is synthetic echo. It is effectively imprinting what the echo is onto another person by taking a copy of that person's soul and forcibly shoving it onto another person's soul. So the brief version is synthetic echo. What can be more perfect than Kermit the Frog, though? Oh! Okay. Hey, good evening to you, Elio. How timely. There's something I could ask of you. But what of my manners? Is there aught you require? Here at Blue Zung's, why is it, okay. It's blue, it's Blue Zung. I keep wanting to go Zong, because I see the Z-O. Blue Zung's behest, you say. Ha! That he should send you all of his people is a stroke of good fortune, indeed. Permit me to appraise you of the situation. You will doubtless recall driving the Serpent Reavers out of Sasasha. Well, despite our best efforts to keep the place secure, I regret to inform you that it has been occupied by pirates. Pirates, I say, though eyewitnesses claim that they seem more akin to fiends from the briny depths. To be frank, we are not wholly uncertain what it is we are dealing with. I dispatched a party of adventurers to identify and eliminate the threat, but it would seem their courage has failed them. But they were not you, my friend. You will fare better against whatever awaits within Sastasha. Of that I have no doubt. If you would be willing to assist us, pray report to Depersia, who stands guard by the entrance to the caverns. And I don't know if any of you were there for some of our early episodes, but because we're here, why not?
Alio, what can this old marauder do for you? I instruct initiates in the way of the axe. I have always done, but Sokawib tells me you have progressed far beyond the skills I have taught you. The forgotten arts of war. Were I 10 winters younger, I would have rushed off to learn at your side. And eat cookies.
Take a deep breath, lady. What can be more? Tinkers are nervous. I keep mistyping. You're good. You're good, lady. Plenty of us are making mistakes. Like, have you seen most of the things that I've said or have come out of my mouth in the past 3 hours? You do realize that you now need a Kermit the Frog voice button? Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Well, that's getting written down. Thanks, Chris. So, yeah, we chased the Kraken away from Hullbreaker Island just to fight it in its lair in Sasha Heart. Yeah, it's good shit. Oh, God. There we go. Oh, I never turned in the Kraken one. Heard some things. What? Like about having... Know what? Nope. I'm not bringing it back up. I'm not bringing the shower back up.
Hi, good to see you back in one piece. And with Mistbeard's coffers, no less. Let's have a look at them. The complex lock prevents any and all from uncovering the secrets of the legendary Pirate King Mistbeard's treasure. The lock's still intact. There's no sign it's been tampered with. You did good, Venture. The chief will be right pleased. Ah, indeed he is. I know that you wouldn't disappoint me, my friend. You have my gratitude. Now that you're curious at the contents, I do not doubt. Have risked life and limb to retrieve the coffer. You've more than earned the right to the knowledge. Coffer holds the secret to Mistbeard's identity. It was Enzar all along! Menacing, is it not? This mask, my friend, has been worn by all the individuals who have borne the name Mistbeard.
It's not like it's the Dread Pirate Roberts or anything.
Aye, Mistbeard was not one man, but many, for generations. Both name and mask have been inherited by those deemed worthy, and so the legend continued. But now that legend will come to an end. The last Mistbeard has found a new purpose in life. One woman and her dream of a brighter future for Limsa. As you know, our nation's founded by pirates. It's in the Limsaman blood to desire to be his own master, to reject the authority and take what he wants. Some among us believe that piracy is a time-honored tradition, but so long as we cling to the tradition, we will never know lasting prosperity. These were the woman's words, and Mistbeard saw wisdom in them. He swore to do all in his power to make her dream reality. In the future, she envisioned, there is no place for pirate kings, but in the tales of fishwives. And so, Mistbeard has chosen to consign himself and his predecessors to the pages of history.
A masky fellow, a man after my own heart.
The mask symbolizes an obsolete way of life, yet is not without power. Should it fall into the wrong hands, another Mistbeard will rise. Hot-blooded Liminsons will gather to his dread banner, and piracy will continue. The mask will never see the light of day again. On this day, the Pirate King Mistbeard draws his last breath. Dunstan, I trust you know what to do.
Aye, aye, Chief. Given a bit of time, the rumors or treasure will fade, just like the mist's clearing. As you wish. As you wish. I assume I just go to, yeah, just Sasha. Hopefully nobody tells Enzar that Mistbeard's mask is flowing around the market. Fair, Atelier. What was that sound? Okay, guys, I think next time, so after this, we're definitely doing, next episode is going to be Hildebrand then, I guess, which will be interesting. I haven't done Hildebrand in, I genuinely don't remember a lot of A Realm Reborn Hildebrand.
You better not be blaming me for the fiasco. In case you missed it, fearless leader, I was busy dodging razor-sharp pincers at the time. Someone couldn't hold the monster's attention like he was supposed to.
This troop seems oddly familiar, and yet.
The cure spell never came. If I had had the potion on me, I'd be crab tongued by now.
We've comprehensively failed in our duties, but we still come out alive. And at the end of the day, isn't that all that matters? Though I must admit, our leader came pretty close to losing his head in there.
Oh God, this hurts my soul.
You're both sorry excuses for adventurers. Hells, I'm hardly a paragon archer myself, being partial to the odd drink. But what does it matter?
We're here to have fun, so let's have some, eh?
I'm literally starting to think you're an actual fixture in the environment. It's throwing me off. Did I even need to come here? Oh yeah, I still need to talk to Persia, yeah.
Ah, it's you. I take you to mean help us again. Wonderful. You see those adventurers yonder? We sent them in first, but it soon became clear that we're unequal to the task. By my count, they lasted just under a minute inside before staggering back out, sucking for air like fish out of water. As such, we're now closer to ascertaining the nature of the threat, let alone eliminating it. You'll be going in blind, I know, but you've purged Sastasha before, and I'm certain that you can repeat the feat. Enter whenever you're ready, and I'll look forward to hearing of your success.
Sastasha Hard, now accessible. It's terribly comfortable. I think everyone will still be wearing them in the future. OTS, where we learn about Sylvie. With the, Hildebrand, Hildier, Maximilian Manderville. You need to say the full name every time. The amount that I have not bothered studying Hildebrand lore is that I literally could not have pulled that name out of my hat. That's how bad my knowledge base is on Hildebrand. So this is going to be the first time that I'm going to be like deep diving in and like really memorizing all that shit. Freak out. Close to losing his heads, you say? Rats of unusual size. I don't believe they exist. Inconceivable. Okay, here's my idea. When we do a PvP community night, we don't fight to the death. We fight to the pain. I would remember Maximilian, but did forget the Heliodor. Yeah, at some point, well, actually, probably starting tomorrow, I'm going to sit down and actually study and memorize all the stuff to do with Manderville, because so much of that stuff I played for once. I only played once 3 or 4 years ago when I first started playing, and at that time I was in a place where it was very hard to form memories, and I wasn't like trusting, like I wasn't as trusting of the game as I am now, and so I'm excited to like be like, because like I know all the plot beats, so like a lot of the major events and stuff in terms of like that kind of lore and information and stuff, yes, but like the details, the nuance, things like making sure I memorize the entirety of his name, that stuff I don't have down, so it's exciting. I don't think that word means what you think it means. I swear my side of the family can quote the Princess Bride wedding scene line by line. Yeah. Twoo wow. What's my favorite line from that game, from that movie? Does Inigo Montoya versus Wesley just like count as a line? Can I just count that entire fight scene? I swear. Oh no, I'm caught up. God, it always throws me off whenever I'm caught up on chat. Not really much interesting to say about Sastasha this time around in terms of like the map. However, it is interesting to talk about what the Drowned are. So if you've played 5.x, you understand this. And this is not lore that was like revealed in Shadowbringers. This is lore that had been around for a long time. But effectively, what the Drowned are they are people and beings who have been tempered and retempered and repeatedly tempered by a primal. And what has happened is their aether has been corrupted towards water. And so it has also corrupted their very form. And that happens elsewhere with different beings. Quick, we need to type more. My girlfriend made the joke a good friend can preside over our wedding, but he has to quote the whole wedding scene word for word. I mean, there's worse things to do, to have requirements for.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Let's get Madison. You're the bastard venture from afore! Let's... get your boxy ass over here, all of you! Again, fell, not again! Oh, the bloody hurt! How the hell did I miss? Ass balls, I tell you! Ah, sod this! You lot take care of the rest. I'll be waiting for you with a surprise, assuming I live long enough, that is. So remember, that's the captain from before that got at the end of Sastasha Normal. And so he's been tempered and retempered, or at least like had his aether like water aspected. So Leviathan wanted his wet wetties. Oh, I said it. Ray, I said it. I meant it must have been delete, but yeah, you want me to say it again? I can say it again.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Make me want to watch Princess Bride again. Good. It's a good movie. It's infinitely rewatchable. It's like Quest for the Holy Grail. It's one of those movies that you can just always put on. Does not matter the context. Is it Christmas? Put on Princess Bride. Are you having a friend over? Play on Princess Bride. Is it in the middle of a divorce? Princess Bride. Are you maybe getting a little hot and heavy with your date? Princess Bride again. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, there's literally, look, I'm not saying that you should have sex to the Princess Bride. But I will point out that Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail is hilarious no matter what scene you come in on. Or no matter what scene you come in on. I'm gonna leave now. I'm gonna go find, okay. Bye. I told you I'm having a day, okay? I'm having a day. Chromanium, you're not wrong. And Clue, Chris, you're definitely right. Clue is definitely one of those films as well. Let's not go to that place. It's a silly place. Oh, Camelot. Sharp pointy teeth. You turned me into a note. I knew. I got better. As long as it's not during the moose bit message. We did it. We struggled through, but in the end we got there. Rocky, Ray, I was about to mention, I was literally just about to say Rocky Horror Picture Show, yep. You know what's funny? One of my favorite songs from the movie is Eddie's Teddy. Not even Time Warp. Is there anything interesting to point out in here? Oh, actually, okay, well, can't really, well, let's, you know what, give me a second. One interesting factoid about this map is that you can actually see the passage of time. You can't on hard mode as much because the mists are here, but if you're in the regular map, if you just sit here and wait, you can see the sun rise and sunset while you're here in Sastasha. Yeah, Scribe. Wish that would have worked out. Just put a flesh wound. Flesh wound? Your arm's been cut off. Mission time. I've never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. You and a lot of people, Vixen. And like the thing is too is like the interesting thing about it as well is I think is absolutely still worth watching. So much I think of what it made it transgressive at this point. It's not quaint, but we've come so far since its release that it's it is not. It was the extremes of strange, and now it's not conventional. But if you are anywhere in and around that kind of world, it's not the craziest thing you'll watch. Yeah, it is an excellent date movie. It absolutely is an excellent date movie. Although you may have to know your date and know the kind of shit they might be into. Because I guess it could go wrong if it's the wrong kind of date. Ah, you returned him. Tell me, were you able to identify your intruders? Men who looked like jellyfish. And you say they were Captain Madison and his crew? This is decidedly odd, but I know better than to doubt you. I'll have the bodies retrieved for study, that we might better prepare to face such enemies in the future. Your work here is done, my friend. Pray, make your way to Elport. Commodore Raynor awaits news there, and will doubtless be glad of the first-hand account. Local theater company does... Yeah, Jellybean, we have groups like that around here, too. I haven't been to one of those in a long time, partly just because, like, I think at this point, I don't get as much out of it as I might have before, and just because different place in my life. But the movie still means as much. Sorry, victim. Tim Curry will make you question your sexuality in that movie, no matter what your sexuality may be. Ah, I've already received word of your success. You did not disappoint, Elio. Sir, a body has arrived for inspection. Oh, it was a Lalafell. Oh well. This thing that used to be a man. Gods be good! How did this happen? A slight turn to the stomach. 'Tis well I haven't eaten. Oh, it's a lady. Okay, well, let's change the voice. Slight turn to the stomach. Oh, well, I haven't eaten. My lady, thank you for granting us your valuable time and expertise. Commodore, allow us to introduce Miss Sina, foremost among the celebrated Professor Lambertian students. Aye, let us not stand on ceremony, friends. This man's unnatural form can be attributed, I believe, to the excess or absorption of water-aspected aether. A living being can only absorb certain quantities of aether before suffering adverse effects. To be altered so drastically require a fatal dose. Yet our subject here lived long enough to be struck down. A most peculiar case indeed. I have heard the primal crease throws by showering mortals with its own aether. Could this be an extension of that process? Aye, I dare say you struck the mark, Commodore. It being exposed once to a primal's aether is enough to corrupt the mind. It is plausible that a repeated exposure corrupts the flesh. Madison and his crew had failed to hold Sastasha for the Sahagan overlords. I suspect that this was their punishment. The fishback's depravity knows no bounds. To think that the creatures capable of such cruelty lurk nearby. I shan't get another wink of sleep while I'm here. Have no fear, my lady. My fellow jackets have sworn to protect Elport and her denizens, and in light of recent developments, you may be certain that we'll redouble our vigilance. Your word gives me heart, Commodore, and as previously agreed upon, my way of payment for my services. I shall hold on to this specimen for my research. Yes, I remember I shouted, let's do the time warp game on my last date. I had done that on a date. It went well. Labyrinth is a good one too. I see, Ray Ray's right here about the David Bowie part. However, I will say if you do need a bonding experience, just a crystal, nothing more. Chances are, Ray, Myth and I will both be drooling over David Bowie. It's enough to turn each. So, like, was the guy totally dead or still fine as can be? No, he was dead. He was done. He was out. He's gone. He is a corpse. I forgot how explicit they were there about what was going on with the aspecting. Because, so, like, one of the things that's really brilliant about MSQ is that, so a lot of things that are explained in side quests are explained in MSQ. Again, later on when they become relevant. So, for instance, 5.4 touches on this subject that we touched on. One, because they don't want to assume that you haven't done the side quest, and two, maybe you've also forgotten. But another good example is in 6.x, how they're referencing what happened with the Warring Triad in, well, they're referencing what the Warring Triad are and everything about them without assuming you've done it, which they're going to run up against. That's going to be a problem the further. When they get to Mericidia, I think they're going to either have to write real hardcore around that, or they're definitely going to have to mandate it like they did with Crystal Tower because of 5.3. Ray, I was gonna say it too. Like, not that it's a problem, but I was about to say like, I see Ray has forgotten her mod role for a second and fallen into her degeneracy. I think, to be fair, that's my fault. I brought the wave of it forth. I brought it onto the pain. I brought forth the pain.
I don't think I ever saw a movie that I would call a date movie because I couldn't watch any movie. Because I could watch almost any movie.
Yeah, well, I think the thing about a date movie is it deeply depends on the type of date. So, like, for instance, if you're going to a movie theater, that's very different than watching a film on a couch or elsewhere. And depending on the activities you intend to get up to, what kind of movie you want is then dependent. For instance, if you intend to go see a movie and you know you're going to go out afterwards to get a meal, having something to talk about is good. If you know you're going to be staying in, but you just want to have something very simple, maybe a very fun movie is good. If you intend to be distracted throughout the watching of the film, maybe something that is always good no matter where you come back in and out of focus on is good. So it's an art form, deciding what the perfect date movie is for the context. And it also depends on who the date is. It's the whole thing. Sometimes people want to be exploratory. They want to see the new thing, something they've never seen before, so you show them something that they haven't. Other times, maybe they don't. Maybe there's someone who just desires comfort and not to see something new, in which case, it's an art. Hey? Bluezung sent you our way, you say? Well, I'll be thrice damned it's you. The Aerok bloke who lopped off the Tomberry King's head. Do you remember us? We was the pair around the entrance to the Wanderer's Palace, saw right before the Great Bleed and Tomberry stabbed us. It wasn't we stabbed, love. Indeed we were. 'Twas most unpleasant. Now, adventurer, you are here to do something we would prefer not to do ourselves. Venture into the Wanderer's Palace again. Best we start at the beginning, eh? Like I was saying, we was acting our way at the little Tomberries when the big one snuck up behind us. Well, we tried to fight it off, but it got the best of us. Never been in worse shape, just lying there bleeding. Hell, I thought we weren't long for the round, but just as I was thinking of me last words, lo and behold, the Tomberries been having out with started treating us. Nursed us right back to health, they did. That's when we learned the truth about the Tomberries, see? That was only menacing folk because of the curse. A curse that you lifted when you slew the Tomberry King. And art that'll calm and twice as kindly again. Why, it was the right pleasure having them take care of us for the fair spell. 'Tis a pity those peaceful days didn't last. A band of Mammal Jewel will cause themselves Silver Scales came storming into the place. They say they're mercenaries, but there's nothing but the scum of the bleeding realm. The howling, the blood, and so many dead. As if it weren't enough, the surviving Tomberries were locked away deep in the ruins. Why in the name of the 12 do they deserve such a fate, I ask you? We had grown rather fond of the Tomberries while living amongst them. They have good hearts, no matter how odd their appearance. None of that should matter anyways. This fellow Eorzean and I am Mikote. Are we any lesser a couple for our differences? I should think not. Referencing romances, both interspecies and regardless of gender. My heart goes to the Tomberries, truly. To be so betrayed, so ill-treated and locked away in some horrid dungeon, and by one's own people, no less. My dearest and I know the pain all too well. We both had to leave our birthplace. Why, you ask? Simply because we were different. No, we will not sit idly by and let the Tomberries be subjected to such terrible treatment. Well said, love. But much as we'd like to give the Silver Scales the boot ourselves, we can't stand up to cartload of Mammal Jaw. So please say you'll do it in our place. The Wanderer's Palace is the only one home the Tomberries have got. Now you'll have to speak with Abazi Tarazi and get a ride in his boat across the lake. What's it now? Bon voyage? They are such a cute couple. What's interesting to me, so one of the things is that, like, the one thing that people pass around is them talking about them being a couple. What's interesting about some of the lines in Japanese is that the Japanese doesn't directly refer to them as a couple. The Japanese really much more implies, at least when I read it, was much more like just talking about them as a heroic, like duo, like an adventuring duo. And I wonder if there's like a deep amount of like nuance or context or use of a kanji or something that I just didn't quite pick up on that still implies it in the Japanese, or if that's something they just localized to English, the choice they made. But so to the point we were talking about earlier with glamours, right? So imagine that boat sails, right? Imagine the boat does sail across. Well, remember, still, this is the thing. This is the structure that you're seeing. So you'd still have to be below the waterline, but also below the waterline, you can see this. So it just doesn't, the Wanderer's Palace geography, the structure just doesn't make sense with the overworld. It just doesn't connect. And that's fine. But, yeah. Sorry, and remove this Nibi who's top. What? In that group? In that pairing? Man, I don't know. That's hard. I feel like it's the Makote. Oh, what do we... Was he deep or was he high? Someone remind me. Non-Euclidean magic fuckery. Yeah, I can get behind that. Scaling of everything. It's not scaling though. Scribe. So what we were getting at earlier with this, it's not a scaling problem. It's not a scaling issue. It's a literally directional multiple things don't line up at all that we were getting at. Like literally, should be below the water, but also you are above the water. Also, you're looking back, but you also. If you're looking back at this thing, you also should be, the back there should be over. Like, it's literally everything's all over the place. It's not even just about size. It's crazy. But also it's 2.0, so they were under a lot of pressure. It's interesting how the taboo is more of an interracial couples rather than the same sex. I worked that into my alt story a tiny bit. Yeah, we don't get a lot about like same-sex discrimination. There is some stuff in it in 14, but there's not a ton of it. But I mean, alternatively, you can also point to the fact that there isn't a remarkable, not that there isn't a lot, but there isn't a remarkable amount of like overt problems around interracial relationships even. Like there's a lot of it that's joked about or just referred to or like commonly nodded to. So it's interesting that like we know from Koji, a la would have been around Heaven's Word, that the world as a whole is relatively conservative, but the people and stuff that we engage with make it unclear what exactly the average perspective on it is, and though we can make educated forms of guesses. FFXIV said gay rights. Yeah. Happy Pride. Seem to remember them being gay in German version as well. Ooh, that's good to know, Chris. Thanks for letting me know. Although, what's interesting is I know that the German and French is usually localized often off of choices made in the English. There was an interview recently where they're just talking about this. At least, maybe I'm misremembering, but my understanding from the quote, they were talking to the localization teams for English, German, and French, is that English kind of gets the priority, and then French makes choices. Usually, French and German make choices based off of a lot of the things that English does. With them working with the Japanese localization team as kind of groundwork. So I would wonder if that carried over from that. Well, when monsters can bite your face off any day, the common man has more important things to worry about than someone else's romantic interest. Fucking true. And yet, throughout history, we've also seen people, when put against adversity, will other people in order to have a sense of control and power. So I can also imagine it going the other way, sadly. The numbers don't make sense. Chris from Work to Game made a video recently about maps being off of his game. Yes. It's interesting because while the scaling's way off, I do think that the broad strokes are good enough. Like, I think that's the other thing, is that there are egregious examples. Like, there are quite a few egregious examples, but I'm often more struck by, especially post 2.0, the amount that there was an effort made towards consistency than by all the places it gets it wrong. The time bubble. Will we ever fully grown Alphino and Alice? Okay, here's the thing about a fully grown Alphino and Alice. With everything that gets repeatedly told us about the fact that Alizan kids always seem to always have their growth spurts by like at the latest 20, there's kind of an inevitability to that because they're 16 at ARR, and like while that gives them a 4-year grace period, they're gonna have to come up against that sooner or later. So I think it happens. It's just a question of when. Now, that said, some people would argue that, for reasons of marketability or reasons of just a bunch of like dev reasons, some people have pointed out why they may never do it, that are fair. But if you ask me what my gut feeling is based on Based on a couple of things, I would suspect it's very possible, though I could not tell you when. If I was gonna have said when, I would have thought before 6.0 we would have had a time jump after 6.0. But at this point, clearly that's not the case.
Come on, the treasure hunter errand, have ye? Well, if I'll take you across the lake, but be warned, the place you're making for is held by the Silver Scales, and their leader's the most fearsome of the lot. Now, the Toneberries are friends of mine, but even I think the way the Amalmajaw have imprisoned them is wrong. Capturing them, turning them into thralls, go, give them go sellswords hell.
Wanderer's Palace Hard, now accessible. I'm honestly still hoping for a time skip at 7.0.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why, but I'll take it. I can't imagine why it would happen, like what the justification would be, but I'll take it. The Steps of Faith was a good example of the open world instance colliding in a weird way. Yeah, that is a good example. Yeah. Well, because there's two bridges, though. There's the one that leads out back behind that's not just the one that connects Central Kurthus to Ishgard. There's also a secondary bridge behind Ishgard. And I thought one of the battles is supposed to be there. It may not be Battle of the Big... I may be wrong. It may not be Steps of Faith. I think Steps of Faith may just be that. But I know that there's... I forget which one it is off the top of my head. I forget. I think there's an interview where Yoshi touched on seeing the twin adults. I think he said the dev team aren't thinking about it, but maybe at least showing off what they would look like. Yeah, so that's what I read, but I believe... Correct me if I'm wrong. That was during 5.x, correct? Is that a Black Widow cosplay? Tessus? Or not Black Widow, her sister. Or maybe it was her. I forget who has the white outfit in the movie. But the thing I also is Yoshi P is like Doctor Who. Rule number 1, Yoshi P lies. And I don't mean that in Yoshi P is great. I love Yoshi P and Yoshi P does and stuff. But more what I mean is there are a lot of things that in order to protect his team and the amount and not overworking them, he will be like, this just isn't feasible right now, or this isn't particularly feasible, and that doesn't mean that they're impossible. And it also doesn't mean that if a writer doesn't come to him and go, I want to do this, he won't do it. So that's why I wouldn't discount the possibility, despite having me told that. Battle on the Big Bridge in the southeast of Kurthus, not the north where Ishgard is. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. It is that. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Scribe. It gets through here. Burn! So remember, the Mammal Jaw are from the New World. They come from... And that's why they're in Lenosia, is mostly for what amounts to work. Look at it. Look at this. No, dude. And there are at least 2 different tribes we know of them. And if those 2 different tribes get together and have a kid, sometimes they get a blessed offspring, which is the final boss of this dungeon. But that's also why you'll notice, like, for the Blue Mage, all the Blue Mage stuff has to do with the New World, but it also has these Mammal Jaw with it. Alisay will always be best girl. Might be Nidhogg battle that is on the other bridge, you mean? Yeah, Scribe got that. As someone who's been doing Heavenward Relic recently, these dungeons are giving me flashbacks. I think we talked about pretty much everything of interest really to do with Wanderer's Palace when we came through last time. It's really only touching on Scribe, or touching on the Mammal Jaw. My auto run? Okay, auto run set up. Touch. Look, I'm having a day. Slip of the tongue. What do you want from me? Do you think there's a chance we could get a reverse of Shadow Range where the sword moves forward time while we don't, maybe while we're in the void? Yeah, so, you know, it's funny, John, you mentioned that. That was like the one... Oh, also, I forgot to read Chris's. We're not necessarily skipping forward in time, but setting the 2.0 6-point story this amount of years that haven't passed. Yeah, and I think, Chris, I think that happens one day. I don't know if that happens, like, while we're doing expansions now or after the game closes, and I'm not sure which way... Well, I feel like they should, and I feel like they may define the bubble of the Zodiac and Hydaelyn arc into one thing, into like what period of time it is. And I think if you ever see adult twins, that would be the time to do it. Here's the major problem with doing that. Because they've done the time bubble, that means it's not even they can't make sense of things. It's that in order to do that is a fuck ton of work, and they don't have a lot of lore people. They do have lore people, but they don't have a ton of lore people, and a lot of their lore people are also their localization people, and they are busy as shit. And so I would imagine, so like whether them confirming the time bubble as much as we want it badly is not to their benefit, and it is a fuck ton of work. In a way that, like, and I don't mean a fuck ton of work and like, oh, I don't want them to do a fuck ton of work. More just that opportunity cost, right? It's always about that sweet opportunity cost. Now, do you think there's a chance we could reverse Shadowbringer? Blah, 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 blah. Yes. So I was thinking that like the thing that would make most sense is the fact that we know that the different reflections can be out of sync chronologically. But the thing that gets interesting with that is certain statements that we get in 6.1 seem to make it seem that that the astral plane is that the 13th is in rough sync with the source. And on top of that, if the plans are going to go where I think they're going to go, I would bet you all the reflections would be in complete sync by the time of some of these coming up events. It's just a suspicion I have. It's not a question of can they, it's a question of will they. Yeah, the issue is usually placed at the feet of the company issue. Don't we have the money, people, time, etc. So it's worth. Yeah, it's really pretty much it's always a question of opportunity cost. Really, usually, I fully agree. But the only interesting thing to dive in there is not so much the potentiality of it as into the whys they would, why they wouldn't. And there's not a lot to benefit them to do it, and there's a lot of headaches they can potentially cause themselves. And for instance, what happens when they're doing their goddamn best and put a bunch of effort into doing it, and then they get quite a few things wrong? Now, the hopeful answer is that a bunch of people comment on the forums or comment elsewhere and they fix it, and it's fine, because like that's what happened a lot during when 2.0 launched, right? Or even I think during 1.0. But again, so imagine that they have Kate Quinner, right? I think that's how you say her name. Koji's still in 16. Kate Quinner, they have their localization team is like for English is 8 people. Most of them have to know lore because in order to localize things contextually, they have to be players as well. But if they're doing that project, they can't do 6.2, right? Let's say they're doing it during 6.1. That's time they have a limited amount of hours that they are allowed to work. And hiring someone on, they're already having difficulties hiring people on, because in order to localize for 14, you have to be good at Japanese, be good at English, and you need to play 14 because there's so much lore and story and history and character voices and all that going on. You can't localize it in a vacuum. And so onboarding people is also it's going to be a nightmare. And so look at all these good boys. Yeah, I guess I also find that in general, unless there's something I really can't abide, I'm usually tend to be more sympathetic. Yeah, hire me, I'll straighten it all out. I mean, do you speak Japanese? Because if you don't, that doesn't really help the problem, because there's a lot of contextual stuff that needs to be decided and agreed upon. It's not just a problem of localization, like finding things in the English and creating things. Like because the problem is there may come into conflict context. Like for instance, I know some things in Japanese specifically that conflict in a way that becomes... The other issue is that they're not going to hire someone on full-time to just do lore, when they can hire people on to do lore and... Like, because they already have Oda. You know, even Oda is... no one person on that team has just one job like that. And so it becomes difficult. Meanwhile, I think I'm falling in love with healers. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think that they would ever hire people who are single-faceted in a way that like can't. Honestly, the time bubble, of course, is a mechanic necessary for the way 14 is done. Well, a time bubble isn't so much necessary as it is the complications wrought by not having one can make things a lot worse and a lot of storytelling chances and opportunities restricted. So it's not so much that 14's narrative storytelling prevents it, It's more that it's a trade-off that they're making in order so that they... If you have it so Shadowbringer starts 3 years after A Realm Reborn, it means that Endwalker cannot happen within a year after after Shadowbringers, let's say, right? Just like in terms of twins aging, right? Just a random example. Let's say it's been 3 years and 8 months since Shadowbringers. They've defined it. It's been specific. Well, let's say they really want to do they want to do something where you're forced to jump forward 6 months in Endwalker. Well, it doesn't make sense to come back and the twins haven't grown. This is just a random example. The point being that they box themselves into more and more corners, and especially in a long-running game where the reins are being handed off to different writers who want to do different things and different storytelling narratives and devices. It is the lesser of two evils in my opinion, than just restricting themselves overly. And while that can bear out in terms of looking at it like, okay, well, why don't we at this point have why not define it post 6.0? And I think that's fine, but what happens is if you define it, okay, it's been 3 years exactly, it means going into 7.0, you have a time bomb until you have to deal with something like the twins. And the twins is just an example. There are a lot of other things within the game. Why aren't people's kids growing up? Why isn't the babies in Idyllshire dealt with? Why isn't the baby in Idyllshire a toddler now? Why isn't you have, it's not one thing. It's not just defining the thing. It's you've created a bunch of work for animators, modelers, design teams, narrative checkers, lore checkers. It's never so simple. Have you swept the sellswords out of the place? Ah, that's splendid, lad. Our thanking for saving them Tomberries, honest. Allow me to add my thanks to his, sir. You have my gratitude on behalf of the Tomberries as well. I think they'll truly deserve succor. Can you imagine losing your entire being to hatred? Little wonder that the Tomberries became monsters. Neither of us are strangers to hate. Growing more spiteful with each passing day is sadly the province of those who are shunned by all around them. So there's some explicit text on that, yeah. Yet malice will turn us all to monsters. I wonder if this will ever come back as a theme. A Tomberry told me as much one day. It gave me pause to think of wandering for ages with a heart ruled by rancor. Aye, the Tomberries have known more than their fair share of hard times, so from here on out, we want to make sure that their lives stay a sanctuary. Fortunately, while there's ventures like yourself about to knock invaders out, we won't have to fear for Tomberries. Now we're off to fight right old reunion. Good fortune to you, friend. Mainly I see bursting that time bulb as a way to make onboarding new players directly in 7.0 easier. I'm not sure I follow. End the saga by fixing it in the timeline to make a reference to old. But it doesn't, because that doesn't ease anything, because they don't know Y'shtola, they don't know the characters. There's no difference between having that fixed and not fixed and introducing people, because if you start anew, you still need to introduce people to Y'shtola, or you're cutting out Y'shtola. And either of those doesn't require you to fix I don't think fixing the time point does anything to affect that either way. Let's say, the problem with onboarding people is the things that they have to know in the past. Dedicating a specific span of time to that to say this is this amount of time doesn't change the amount of information they need to understand, to conceptualize, communicate, to comprehend those characters and those events. At least I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. It wouldn't for me if I was starting out. The difference between saying A Realm Reborn to Endwalker takes some amount of time, roughly within 3 years, somewhere between 1 and 4, probably under 4 years, and saying A Realm Reborn to Shadowbringer or Endwalker takes 2 years exactly, makes no difference in terms of the amount of things I have to know or should know going into the MSQ. They're still going to be thinking, who the fuck is this? I mean, hell, think about how many people saw Hoary Boulder at the beginning of Endwalker and was like, who the fuck is this? Because I know quite a few. Let's go to the tea tree. Because we're running on time. Drove 3 grown pit bulls back home from boarding. Oof, that sounds exhausting to Mims, yeah. That's just my regret of not being there when Dalamud fell, which I had played back then. So, but here's the thing I will always say to people who wish they had played 1.0, Chris. Always remember that if you had played 1.0, you might have fallen off hard, and you might have been like, and you might have started playing 2.0 and been like, nah, and may have not come back. It's always easy to think that we wish we had been there for those events, and there are reasons to somewhat wish it, but there are strengths to coming in at the points that you did. And I know I keep saying it, but the Tolkienian idea of it could have been different, but it could have been better. You know, I think you can make it different. And maybe there would have been, could you have maybe the Gubu mount? Could you have been there for the Great Gubu Wall or major events? Yeah, but what happens when you just feel burned out by Realm Reborn and never came back? Or, you know, or you spent a bunch of time with very specific theories about how things were going to play out because you were playing in a Realm Reborn, and then when they didn't play that way in Endwalker, you were maybe bitter. But instead of doing it that way, you experienced it this way, and then actually you end up loving Endwalker, you know, as an example. You can never forget Hoary Boulder and Aenor Cockburn. Yeah. But you know, Chris, I was thinking on that recently. I was like, I sometimes am like, oh, I kind of wish I had been around since the beginning. But also, I think there's merit to not. And I also think there's merit to being able to think of 1.0 as myth. For a lot of us later players who came in Stormblood onwards, 1.0, even at that point, was a relatively distant memory. It was, and people speak of it as this moment in time, as the events, and we get the benefit of all these lovely stories, but none of the absolute nightmare that it was. And also, as hopeless as it might have been for a lot of players, because you think about how, imagine a game you love like that. People don't know that it's going to get Yoshi P. People don't know it's going to get that redemption. What usually happens? Games are usually like Anthem. Games, they're just like, nah, toss it aside. And it's so like, to my mind, I don't think it's just a loss. I think there is some comfort to be taken. Okay. We're running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing my outro stuff. Don't forget, we're going to be doing Hildebrand tomorrow. That's when we're going to start that stuff. Hopefully we'll get through all of it. And from there, we should be going straight into content. I think our little lull reprieve has been over. And while it has been nice to do some of that stuff, I will say I am missing doing more meaty content. Whoa, did not know there was a stream. Oh, hey, oh no, it's good to see you. Glad to have you. Just recently found your videos. Thanks. And there's joy to listen to while I'm doing my dailies. Makes them less mundane to do. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I hope you continue to enjoy them. And yes, speaking of, we have streams every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday is MSQ replay stream. On Saturdays, we have community live stream. Wednesdays is when new videos come out. Friday is when we have Lore Book Club. And Sundays is when I theoretically rest, however, is typically when I'm still editing videos. With that said, don't forget, you can always support us on Patreon by offering us $1 over there. We have a bunch of little fun not lore, but just like fun rewards and goodies and stuff if you wanted to come go check that out. On top of that, you can also support us by offering us donations here with super chats on YouTube. Oh, I've got Twitch set up, so that's starting to be set up. What will happen on Twitch is the majority of that will be things that are not Final Fantasy 14. So for instance, if I am going to stream Final Fantasies 1 through 13 plus 15, you know, I could say everything Final Fantasy, but not 14. We will be doing there. Nier would be there. The reason is that to keep the two spaces separate because the Eorzean archive is about Final Fantasy 14 for the foreseeable future. But don't worry about that for now. We probably won't be doing anything right away with that, and people will be alerted. But if you want to be alerted, come check out our Discord where we talk about all sorts of fun things. Our very supportive community, talk about lore, Final Fantasy 14, yeah, it's a good time there. As per usual, I'm sure I'm forgetting something. So I'm going to look down to see if my wonderful mods, Tethys and Ray Ray, I don't know why they're apparently now left and right, are giving me help. Coils after Hildy. Coils is after Hildy. It'll be Hildebrand, Coils, and then we will be doing Crystal Tower. Crystal Tower will be our first run into 2.1. Now, if you want to do Coils, don't forget, you can mention in the Discord that you're interested in doing Coils. On top of that, you can also mention if you're interested in doing Crystal Tower. If you enjoy the stream in Discord's got by Tethys. Ray Ray's got MSQ and chill. Yeah. Give us money. Thank you, Tethys. Yeah, thank you for the stream. Yes, thank you everyone for stopping by. By the way, don't forget to check out Scribe's channel and all of his lovely videos if you have not already. Or also check out Work to Game and Chris's lovely lore videos as well. Yeah. I don't have anything off the top of my head. Oh, we have merchandise. Yes, thank you, Ray. You can always get a T-shirt or other goods and like little T stickers and stuff. Oh, and all of our Lore Talks and End Talkers are now on Spotify, so don't forget that you can check those out as well. I'll have a lovely time seeing you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be better rested and more able. But in the meantime, for those of you who managed to stick around because you're lovely, I will give you a little bit of fun. I'm okay. Oh, okay. Definitely didn't hit my head against the wall. No, I'm actually fine. Have a lovely evening, everyone. See you tomorrow.